What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Ball Game Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Tom.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Dean.
We have a very special guest today, one of the fastest rising sports media personalities, a current Packers fan, and host of the Pick a Side podcast, Joel Moran. Thank you for coming on, bro. How's everything?
Thank you for the lovely intro, and thank you for characterizing me as a Packers fan. I feel like people have a problem doing that nowadays, and as we all know, with the current climate in the world, you gotta identify people correctly. So I like how you identified me correctly.
Exactly.
I am a Packers fan. That's how I identify as.
And I'm going to call you out for that, bro. You cannot abandon us after 15 years of being terrible. It's not fair that I have to sit here and you could go walk your way over to Green Bay and be a fan of a good franchise. It's not fair, bro. It's not.
You don't gotta stick with it.
But the loyalty is part of fandom. Like, that's what makes a fan, and you jumping ship just doesn't sit right.
I thought that too until that I read the actual definition of what a fan is.
Saw this.
Merriam-Webster. And a fan is having admiration for something.
Wow.
If you no longer have admiration for the football product that's being displayed, you are technically not a fan. In fact, a lot of Jets fans start to root against their team. That is the opposite of being a true fan. So for me, I had to jump ship to something that I admired, that I cherish, and that's Jordan Love. That's the connection I had with the Green Bay Packers, and that's why I had to jump ship, and it feels good. It feels good rooting for something competent every single Sunday. And the Jets, hey, you know, maybe Fernando Mendoza gets drafted and they ruin him again.
Yeah, but you don't get to escape the pain though. Like you're with us though, no? Like
Do you still feel the pain of
No.
the Jets? Oh, my God.
You
He
completely
severed the tie, bro. Jesus.
I'm completely checked out.
Wow.
No, I'm checked out too, but like I didn't pick a new team.
We went to the game yesterday.
Unfortunately.
Oh, really?
At one point, Dean looked over at me and he said, "Bro, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't go to any more Jets games."
I mean, it's
You
hard.
see my sunburn on my face? I got a tan line right on my forehead, bro. And I just to watch Justin Fields.
It was
get
hot there yesterday
Yeah.
during the game.
It
Oh
was
my
bad.
gosh.
How,
I got a little burnt too.
Have the Packers faithful welcomed you with open arms, or
Some of them have, some of them haven't. You know, I recognize this just with any team that you start to talk about. You know, all fandoms are pretty delusional about how good their team is or what is a weakness and what's not a weakness. So some Packers fans have been mad at me that I've been calling out the receiving core, saying, hey, the receiving core is pretty underwhelming. And they're like, nah, man, we got everybody. We got
Davion
Wicks.
Wicks.
We got Wicks.
Christian
we got
Watson.
Romeo Dobbs. He's so reliable. And this is the same receiver core that everybody was complaining about last year. They just added Matthew Golden. So I don't understand where all the admiration for it is coming all of a sudden. So some Packers fans have been mad at me for pointing that out. But, you know, the people that matter, you know, like the big-time creators that are Packers fans, they have welcomed me with open
There you
arms.
go.
They have told me, you know, you're welcome. And it is a publicly owned team. It's the only team in the NFL that's owned by fans itself. It doesn't have a real owner. So anybody could technically be a fan of them if you wanted to join too.
See,
Have you thought about like
He
where
really-
where
like-
would the
like-
ship be?
the-
Where would the ship go if you jumped? You know, if you jump ship.
it'd be the Colts.
if I no, not the
Colts?
Colts. That's
No, you
too,
can't. Yeah, you
do
can't.
an
That's
AFC.
way too treacherous.
I've always been a 49er
You have.
fan in the background. Like
Yeah.
playing Madden growing up, I love playing with Cap.
You have like
I
49ers merch.
I do have. I have a Brock Purdy
Purdy
jersey.
jersey?
Really?
You know, I kind of like. But I would never. I've been through too much. Like the last time the Jets made the playoffs, I was in the 5th grade. Like we've been through too much to give up now. Like the highs of the Aaron Rodgers and the crashing and burning of this season. Like if I were to jump now, there's no going back.
What I do is I just, when I realize the Giants season is over, I just declare myself a Bucks fan for the rest of the season.
I do
And I
the
switch
same
back in the
thing.
off season and just flip flop. Yeah.
Same thing. I'll pick my team for the year, and that's that. But
Now, sometimes you see a routine, you see a pattern of people that have left, maybe rooting for a team or being part of a team, and their life is better. Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, maybe not currently, but it was for a while.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams, I mean, my
Yeah.
goodness, he went to the Giants and then the Seahawks, he's balling out. You see the pattern of these players, coaches, Todd Bowles going from the Jets to the Bucks,
Aaron
Robert
Rodgers.
Saleh now, Aaron Rodgers right now with the Steelers, and their life just gets better after leaving the Jets. So I thought that it'd be the same for me.
it's really that miserable. It really is.
It's really that bad, and they almost got me today. Sometimes there'll be moments where they almost reel me back in. Like I saw Aaron Glenn, and he was just talking in his press conference about the benching of Justin Fields, and I was like, I was feeling a little sad about it, and I was like, nah, fuck these guys.
Stop. You don't care. I don't care no more.
I think he's
Think
the
about what they
worst.
put you
So there
through.
is love in there still.
Oh no, there is. I still like. I don't root against the Jets, bro. If they end up being good, like
He's
it's
back on the
fine.
bandwagon.
Like
I'm not
Jets,
gonna be
Packers,
back
Super
in.
Bowl, you're gonna root for the like. Not saying the Jets are ever gonna make a Super Bowl, but
Yeah, in
if
70
that
years,
were to
where it's the
happen,
Jets,
hypothetically, you're going with the Packers.
I just don't know if there's a scenario where I can bring myself to actually believe that happening.
You know, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Like Dells is telling me, man, what if the Jets just become good? I'm like, come on, bro, let's be serious. Like,
Let's be for real.
I don't really have to worry about that anytime soon, at the very least. So that's why I feel pretty good about it. You know, if the Jets prove me wrong, you know, good for you guys for sticking it out. If they continue to be bad, it'd be like, he made the right decision. So I guess I'm betting against the competency of the organization.
History would be in your favor if we're looking. I mean, it's 1968 since we won a Super Bowl, so
I respect it. I've been
Well,
a fan
of
of a
course
few
you do.
teams in my life.
Chris is different. Chris is a different animal when it
You
comes to
picked
this
a team.
because this is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
fair. Give him the list. Give him the rundown of who you're a fan
So
of.
I started as a Giants fan because we live in New York. The Giants,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, they were going to the Super Bowl. How could you not be a Giant fan? Wild card team that went on to the Super Bowl to beat the GOAT. How could you not be a fan?
Agreed.
Then, who was after
Jags,
the Giants?
right?
Cardinals.
Was it the Cardinals, right
Cardinals,
after
yep.
the Jags? The Cardinals. Dean introduced me to Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger,
When we were kids.
one of my top 5 favorite players of all time. Great.
Dolphins.
He's
We'll
getting
get there. We'll get there.
We will
It's a
get
long
there.
journey.
Cardinals with Pat Pete, David Johnson, great running back. Carson Palmer, career revival with the Cardinals. How could you not root for them? I wish they got over the hump. They should have beat Cam Newton and the Panthers, but they fell up just short. Then the Jaguars drafted Jalen Ramsey, who I proclaimed is going to be one of the best corners of all time. Not a hot take. Everyone knew Jalen Ramsey would be great, but I fell in love with Jalen Ramsey and Saxonville. Then they went on to the AFC Championship. It was great. Leonard Fournette, great running back.
Playoff Lenny.
Playoff Lenny. And then the Dolphins drafted Tua, and I love Tua. So I've been a Dolphins fan ever since. But I think it's,
Commanders now.
yeah, I mean, it might be time for me to start looking for a new team soon. For sure. I mean, you mentioned being a
there's a lot of
fan is when
teams.
you have admiration for a team. I don't know if I really admire the Dolphins right now, so
No,
it might be time.
I think that's probably the proper way to approach fandom. You know, it's you are a fan of whatever you're a fan of in the moment. That's the literal definition.
Exactly.
If you don't enjoy watching the Dolphins anymore, you shouldn't be tied down.
Exactly.
You know, in life, when do we stick to a job that we don't like? If unless we have to really be there, but in life, you have free reigns to change jobs. You have free reigns to take whatever route you want on a driveway or to go to work. You have the choice
You could
to
eat whatever
type
food
of
you
meal
want. You can drink whatever you want to drink.
Listen,
but-
sports fandom, this is you cannot do this. No,
Absolutely.
everything in life, you can do whatever you want to do.
But do you ever give up on a person that you love?
I was gonna say, is it more? I think of it more of like a marriage.
Yes.
I mean, marriages fall through all the time. Marriages fall through all
That's not
the
the
time.
idea, though.
That's not the point of a marriage.
It's
So.
like 50%.
It is. The divorce rate is 50%.
Yes.
That is a fact. So that means that half of the time, you're not even sticking to your loyalties.
Facts.
And that's big. I've never given no vows to the Jets. Never.
man.
I've never said my vows. I've always liked them, but I didn't never said a vow to them. Like, oh, until death do us part. No, you guys suck, and I'm leaving. That's it.
I
And it's not even like they just started to suck and I'm leaving when they sucked, because the Dolphins are just starting to suck. Really for the
Sucked
last
for a
2
long
years,
time,
right?
though, yeah.
But like this is 2 years that you've really dealt with this type of, like, I guess, bad football.
pain.
The Jets have been like this for 10 years, even longer. If we,
Solid
if we
story, brother.
because 2015 is the year that they were really good, and then Sam Darnold's rookie year, there was some promise there, but really 2015 was the year that they almost made the playoffs and Fitzpatrick choked.
Yep.
But from 2011 to 2014, miserable. From 2016 to 2025, right now, miserable. So we're talking about 14 years of just like terrible football, terrible decisions, terrible drafting, players leaving the Jets and becoming better somewhere else. So, I think it's justified, bro. That's like a tenth of my life. Even if I live that long, that's a fourth of my life that I'm willing for dog shit.
2023 Hard Knocks was a fun time. I will say that those 3 weeks were fire.
Yeah.
Those were the best 3 weeks in the last 15
then it
years.
all came crashing down.
Legitimately, within 4 snaps, was it?
Yep, 4
Yeah,
snaps.
sorry.
You have to bring up the 4-snap thing. I know it's 4 snaps. We
touchy
all lived
subject,
it.
yeah.
Like, we were all there. I remember what I was doing, what I was eating, what I was wearing. It was not a fun time.
I remember the group chat that day.
So I
That was
texted in our
good.
group chat. What did I say? A new era. And then 20 minutes later, he snaps his Achilles. And my boy goes, "Era's over." and it was.
Look, you guys aren't the only ones that have to deal with bad football on a weekly basis. So do we. The Giants, obviously, I'm a Giant fan. So this past weekend, we witnessed one of the most
we go
historical.
Yo, Tom, what
we go
were you
again.
a fan of?
Here we go again.
Tom, I want to know.
Every time the Giants come up, he neglects to recognize my fandom as a Giants fan. He swears he's the only Giants
I don't
fan.
do that.
Tom,
but
what team are you a fan of?
I
I just
am-
want to know.
I am a New York Giants fan. As
all
well.
I know is
Wait,
Tom,
I
you are?
go to
'Cause
war.
Matt doesn't let you speak.
I know, yeah.
I go to war on a weekly basis for this team.
Yeah.
And all I ever get in return is you agreeing with everybody else except for me.
Because
Tom
he's
picked
a
the Giants.
realistic
Wait.
Giant
Tom
fan.
picked the Giants to beat the Chargers.
in their first in Jackson
You
Dart's first
picked.
start.
You picked the Chargers.
Bro.
So
He did pick the first win, and that you jump ship the first win.
You did.
So really, who's
Yeah,
switching
but
up?
who was gassing them up?
you sat. Think
Yeah,
about
but you're
that. You
delusional
sat here and
about
said the
it.
Giants are going to be better with Jackson Dart. He's going to
And I
turn
was
the
right.
season around. And then when it was time to pick them in his first start, you picked against them.
I mean,
and you
logic
call
would
yourself
say-
a real fan.
You
Logic
pick
would
the
say
Giants
he
every
wasn't
week
going to
with
win
Russell
that
Wilson.
game.
During Pick'em, every single week you picked them with Russell Wilson.
And every single week except for the Chargers week, I
All right.
picked the Giants. again.
Whatever. Tom's a Giant fan. What was next?
Anyways, yeah, Tom, I acknowledge your Giants fandom, but unfortunately this Sunday, we just witnessed one of the biggest collapses I think I've ever seen in professional sports. 33 points in the fourth quarter from a guy that we're going to talk about very soon. But Bo Nix put belt to ass in that fourth quarter. The Broncos put belt to ass in that fourth quarter, and it was coaching malpractice for the New York Giants. So, Joel, you wanted to talk about this a little bit. I'm curious what your major takeaway of this game is as the non-Giant fan and the hater on me. So,
I think it was absolutely embarrassing that they lost in that fashion. I mean, my goodness, you're up 28-6 or 26-8. It's one of those.
Yeah.
19-point comeback that the Broncos have in the fourth quarter. The Jackson Dart interception was so ridiculously dumb.
yep.
I don't know why he didn't let the play die. And when he made that play right there, I said it. I said the Broncos are winning this game because I already understood it. You give the Broncos great field position to score quickly. You trust that defense to get a 3-and-out stop against that offense. It was only a matter of time that they were going to start coming back into the game. So once that interception happened, I already chalked it up. I said, yep, I already know what pathway this game is going to go down. And it didn't feel as historic in the moment because it felt like they were chipping away.
Yep.
In the start of the fourth
Yeah.
quarter, that's when they scored their first points. And then you have turnovers break their way. They score quickly. So it didn't feel like as big as a theatrical moment as I was watching it in the moment. But then again, I really have no emotions tied to either team, so I'm just watching it. But, yeah, I think the Giants have become public enemy number one for me this week because now I have to hear Bo Nix propaganda all week long.
Yeah, shut
And
up.
I thought that he was terrible first 3 quarters.
Yes.
Yep.
Like abysmally bad.
100%.
And only when people like a certain player, they will throw 3 quarters of genuinely horrific quarterback play and prop up the fourth quarter, in which I thought he was fine. I thought that he made some nice throws, the one to Sutton and Marvin Mims where he threw it down the sideline. But the final drive, when he threw that ball to really, he was targeting Sutton, and then Mims just happened to be in the vicinity. The biggest play he made of the day on the final drive, he wasn't even targeting the receiver that ended up catching the ball. Sutton was on a dig, and Bo Nix completely missed him, and Marvin Mims just happened to be in the vicinity and caught the ball.
Are we sure?
I'm positive.
Are we sure about that, though?
We saw it. Yeah.
I'm positive it happened. And I have a friend, Jackson, who's really not a fan of Bo Nix all that much. Really, it's been Bo Nix. But he charted every single throw that Bo Nix had in the fourth quarter. And here were all of Bo Nix's throws beyond the line of scrimmage for all of his fourth quarter completions prior to the final drive. So he neglected the final drive. I thought that was a bit biased of him, but whatever. We get a sample size of all the throws. 12-yard completion, 0 yards, 2 yards, 1 yard, 4 yard, -5 yards, 1 yard, 0 yards, -6 yards, 4 yards, 2 yards, 1 yard, -5 yards, a 27-yard throw, -1 yard. Basically, of all the 15 completions prior to the final drive, only 2 of his 15 completions traveled over 4 yards.
It's Bo Nix football.
So we're talking about an offense that still very much has the guardrails on this offense. You're not going to convince me that Sean Payton doesn't know what he's doing. If Sean Payton understands his quarterback, there's a reason why there's so much gimmicky screen stuff in the offense, because I think Bo Nix's footwork is very erratic, and at any time he could make a bad decision, and that's why they didn't choose to throw the ball against the Jets. They just refused to let him do anything because they said, we know the Jets aren't going to score. We just can't lose this game, and at any moment, Bo Nix can maybe throw an interception that could cost us this game. I feel like there's a clear non-trust in him, and this game, like my biggest takeaway from it, as historic as it was, what does this tell me about the Broncos? The defense lets the Giants score 32 points on them. The offense looks abysmally bad for 3 quarters. What am I supposed to do with that information? It just seems to me like the Broncos had something break their way, but something that is far from sustainable and something that I should not take that seriously as people are trying to take it right now.
Oh, Drew's going to hate you, man. That's gonna be a fun one.
What do you think, Tom?
That is... I completely agree. Him and I are avid Bo Nix haters. And through the first 3 quarters, I was texting in one of my group chats. I'm like, man, Jackson Dart, it's up. The Giants are back. And Bo Nix sucks all in one afternoon. I couldn't ask for a better game. Script flip.
What'd you text in that group chat specifically that ended up changing the script of that game?
Oh, it was a different group chat. But I said, because someone said something about the Giants, and I said, Matt, tell them again how we're going to win the division, because Matt came up here and predicted we were going to win the division foolishly last week.
Smart take.
And then asked me to defend him.
happen.
But
One of
whatever.
ball game's best take.
Whatever, yeah.
So what don't you guys like about Bo Nix?
I just never thought he was special. You know what I mean? He can execute an offense, sure, but ask him to throw the ball downfield. I'm not intimidated by anything in football less than a Bo Nix deep shot.
Can he even execute an offense?
I thought, last year I thought he could.
It's a pretty dumbed down, simple.
So I still don't comprehend that, though. I understand what you're saying about Sean Payton, but I still don't get that. How are we going to progress as a team if we aren't going to take the training wheels off and let people go?
And listen, I think that at some point, maybe that is what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of Broncos fans will say it, that you either let Bo Nix sink or swim. You just let him go into these pure drop back situations. But the problem with him is that he's not very good in the pocket. If you watch any Bo Nix game, and I've mentioned this before, but Bo Nix, when I watch him, it gives me anxiety because Bo Nix will get to the top of his drop and he'll already start moving his entire lower body. He'll jump throw. Yep. We saw how many passes got batted at the line of scrimmage for Bo Nix within the pocket. So I just think that right now his mechanics are very erratic. And, when we set the bar for quarterbacks, we judge them based on 2 things. Is he a quarterback that's going to propel you, or is he a quarterback that's going to hold you back? And sometimes the truth doesn't always reveal itself in a moment. Bo Nix is a second-year quarterback, so there's still a lot of time for him to develop. But at one point, Tua was that too.
Yep.
And Tua has developed into a guy that, what I always knew was a guy that held them back, but that holds the team back. And I don't know where Bo Nix falls, but if I had to make a bet on it, I think he more so falls in the quarterback that holds you back. But he clearly did it on Sunday. He did what he was supposed to do. It's a great comeback. Right. The Broncos should feel really good about themselves. Any Broncos fan that is a Bo Nix believer, that's what they're going to use to prop him up. But to me, I don't think you can completely erase the 3 quarters where they had 7 drives, 6 punts, and a turnover on downs, and just ignore all that just because the fourth quarter was as great as it was.
100%.
Should they really feel good about themselves?
Should
they?
I think given how underwhelming they've been basically on both sides of the ball for the first 7 weeks, You know, the defense has been good at times, but not best in the league, which I think a lot of people predicted they would be. A lot of people predicted Bo Nix would take this second-year leap, which he really hasn't, being 5-2 in first place in the division without putting it all together. I think you do feel good because I think, like, if I'm a Broncos fan, I'm thinking, like, damn, we're first in the division and we haven't looked that good. We have time to figure it out and look better. You know what I mean? I mean, like, they should have another loss under their belt right now.
Oh,
they
my
shouldn't
God,
be
yeah.
5-2 and first
Right.
in the division. You know what I mean? They probably should have lost to the Jets too, if we're being
They
honest.
should have lost to the Colts too, but
Right. So it's like you're sitting at 5-2. You're in the driver's seat in the AFC West. Like you probably feel good about it as a fan.
The Colts beat them.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
anything,
yeah,
the
sorry,
Broncos
sorry.
should have beat the Colts because
Right.
Yeah,
really
it was
the
the other
kicker
way.
missed
Yeah.
it. And,
Yeah, it
that
could
was a
go
close
either
game.
way, but
yeah, they've been in a lot of close games, and I just feel like, coming back against the Eagles in the fashion they did, coming back against the Giants, I just don't think those type of comebacks are sustainable
100%.
at the rate that they're having them at.
It's definitely a little gimmicky, but like as a fan, you're probably taking it as like we're escaping with these wins. We have time to put it together. In terms of Bo Nix, as a guy who's supposed to hate Bo Nix, I will say you mentioned Tua. One thing that Bo Nix has is a little bit of a clutch gene, which Tua hasn't shown to have. I feel like Bo Nix in these gotta have it situations deep in games has shown up at more than a guy like Tua has, because Tua never, ever did. But I feel like he's shown that he has a little bit of a sack of nuts on him and can step up to the plate when they need him to step up, which is obviously a trait you look for in a quarterback. But it's just weird because this isn't the first time for 3 quarters where he's looked absolutely terrible and very, very erratic, like you mentioned, Joel. I think it's tough because there's a side of it where it's like Sean Payton, take the training wheels off, let Bo cook. And then there's the other side of it where it's like the little bit that Sean Payton does let him cook, he looks like he can't handle it. He looks confused out there. He doesn't look poised. So it's tough with Bo Nix. He's a very tough quarterback to evaluate, I feel like.
I think I have a good comparison.
What's that?
I've been thinking about it this whole time we're talking, and it reminds me a lot of early Mark Sanchez with the Jets. Just enough to get you some wins, but he doesn't take the team over the top, and it leans a lot on a good run game and a great defense.
I think Bo is significantly better than Mark Sanchez, but
Is he, though?
yes.
Is he significantly better?
I'm a believer. I'm personally a believer. I think that once they give him a chance to do more within the offense, I think he's a better downfield passer than people give him credit for.
I don't know, bro. I saw him overthrow every single deep shot he threw in the first 3 quarters of that game. Like,
But the biggest knock on him is he's a check down merchant, and yes, but that's
Yeah.
also always been the Sean Payton offense
Right.
in general for the most part. Like, it's a lot of check downs and then deep shots. Like, let's open up the playbook. Eventually, let's get people to sink down and then take the deep shots. I think Bo fits it. I do. Like, I think that it's gonna work. I mean, he got significantly better as the season progressed last year, and I don't know if that's a trend or if that's just Bo.
we
Like,
were 7 games into the season, too. You know what I mean?
I think that what it was is that they played an easy stretch of schedules, and the games that he played against were against bottom barrel defenses. 33% of his touchdown production came on 3 games: the Carolina Panthers, the Atlanta Falcons, and Week 18 versus the Chiefs when they were sitting absolutely everybody. But like, you look at his other better games of that season, you could point to the Bengals game, I think, where he played well, but then at the end of the game he missed a multitude of throws that basically cost him that game. The Browns game, he had the one exceptional throw that he had when he was in his own end zone, but overall that was a pretty up and down performance. Then primetime versus the Chargers, he missed a deep shot that probably would have given the Broncos a lead. So I just think that every single tough defense Bo Nix played last year, he really didn't play that well against. So this year, you look at how he's played through 7 weeks. Can I say he's been a better quarterback than last season? I can't. Can I look at Drake May and say he's been better than last season? I can.
Absolutely.
Caleb Williams, even though he's not lighting the world on fire, can I say that Caleb looks better than last season? I can. Can I say that Spencer Rattler looks better than last season? I can. Although the bar for Caleb and Rattler is a bit lower, more so for Rattler is very low,
Right.
because he's a 5th-round pick and he was terrible last year. Bo Nix really hasn't taken any leap. In fact, you can say that he's kind of regressed a little bit from last season. So Broncos fans will say, well, last year he started out the season not good and then he turned it up. Well, this your second year. You kind of don't get that first half leeway because we're already expecting that level of production from the first game of the year because you're supposed to take that leap in your game. So I think that Bo Nix is fine. I just believe that when teams start to win, quarterbacks always get the multitude of credit. Yeah. And even last year, like, was Bo Nix the reason why they ended their playoff drought? It was the number one defense. Like, it was the number one defense in the league. Like, last year they were an average offensive unit, and Bo Nix just did enough to hold the fort. But sometimes, quarterbacks get a lot of the credit, and because the Broncos are winning, he's going to get the credit for it.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about their defense than anything else at this point, too, because if you're not going to have the number one unit in the league, you're not winning a playoff game. That's that simple. And, I mean, Jackson Dart walks into your trap and drops 32 points on your head. I mean, I'm not too sure I should be confident if I'm a Denver Bronco fan, but
that's why I'm saying I don't even know if this game was a great high of emotions, but was it something that you now feel better about the Broncos about? That's where it's like, it took you this much to beat the New York Giants.
Granted, Dart's him.
Dart, to me, I don't care about the fourth quarter Bo Nix had. Dart, to me, from start to finish,
was the better quarter.
Was playing better and looked better on my screen. For the first three quarters, he looked better, and he had nothing around him. He had a worse offensive line. He had no run game. He had worse offensive weapons. He had a worse play caller. Dart was just making things happen, and he was more composed. If you think the fourth quarter puts Bo Nix over him, because then Dart really started to make a lot of mistakes in the fourth quarter. He, especially the final drive, he got bailed. He got bailed in the final drive. He threw like 3 interceptions in that final drive that just weren't caught. But, like, Dart looked like the more impressive quarterback to me when I was watching him yesterday.
Bro threw a hospital ball to the defense.
They
made each other the fuck out.
Yeah, Brandon Jones had to leave because of that.
That was bad, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I love Jackson Dart, though. That's all I took away from this game.
You definitely got the full Jackson Dart experience.
Oh, definitely.
Though. Like, start to finish, that was exactly who I think he is.
You got the Florida version of Jackson Dart, too, in that one. The one that chokes at the end of the game.
It was just he was just like clearly trying to win the game with one play. And is that all on him? Is it some of it on the play calling? You know what I mean? But like you said, he had no run game to lean on or anything.
You also don't have like that number one guy to like rely on to get open at the end.
He doesn't even have a number two.
Doesn't even have Wan'Dale Robinson. He was throwing to Jalen Hyatt down the stretch. Yeah. Like, what are we really?
They both got pretty lucky. Like the Jackson Dart Theo Johnson touchdown was BS.
That was insane.
I mean, it
was a good ball to Wan'Dale, to be fair.
Yeah, he dropped it for sure. It definitely would have been fourth down though. He wasn't going to get the first down, and then Theo Johnson just catches it on the ricochet. But then Bo Nix had it too, like
right before that.
Yeah, the touchdown where. It bounced off the defender, like receiver. It was a bad ball, and Troy Franklin just comes and saves the day. Yeah. And I believe that was either on second or third down. So it would have been a crucial down-and-down situation for the Broncos. And then, the final drive of the game, you're throwing the sun and you miss, and Mims is just in the vicinity and just catches the ball. So I just think that the game was all around crazy.
It was a crazy game.
It was an amazing game.
DT wasn't letting them lose that game, bro.
No.
DT was not letting them lose that game. Shout out to Marius Thomas, man, on his ring night, on his Ring of Honor night. Yeah, but it was crazy. It was a nutty-ass game, and unfortunately we couldn't pull it off.
Do you still think the Giants are winning the division?
Hell yeah, I do.
That's so silly, bro. That's so silly.
Yeah,
what are you doing? Why are you saying that?
We're going into Philly next week.
Yeah,
we're gonna beat the Eagles.
You guys are gonna get
You're gonna sweep the Eagles?
No, we're not.
Sweeping the Eagles is crazy, bro.
You guys might not score a point.
We're sweeping the Eagles. We're beating the Cowboys, and we're beating the Commanders the next time we play.
You guys actually might not score a point next week, especially because you don't have a kicker. Even if you get in range,
Jalen Waddle is gonna look great.
They're gonna elevate Younghoe.
That is the dumbest problem to have, by the way. How do you have a kicker who is injury prone?
We've lost 2 games this season because of a kicker. By the way,
just move on. Get a new kicker. This isn't Brandon Aubrey sitting on your IR. Like, respect to Graham Gano. He's good at what he does, but come on, man.
I mean, Rodrigo Blankenship is always posting videos.
Bro, Younghoe Koo's on our fucking practice squad.
He's on our practice squad.
He's been whack.
What is a?
I'd rather Younghoe Koo than this
same
dude.
shit happened to Jake Moody, and then they played the Commanders. And
what does a practice squad kicker do?
Like
practices kicking.
I always think it's so funny how
scout team linebacker.
During halftime, the kickers just stay out there because they don't have to hear anything that's going on in the locker room.
We thought about this while we were at the game because they don't stay; they go in, but they come out early
at the same time.
Right. The Jets and Panthers kickers and punters came out at the same time. So we're saying, is that like
they talk
coordinated? Like there must be like every team does it the same or something.
After like
it was
5 minutes. Or
It was
whatever,
crazy
the clock.
because they
Yeah.
both just came out at the same exact
I
time.
went to the
and started
same
doing
position on
their-
the field at the same time.
doing their
Wow.
kicking.
Yeah.
That's
It
interesting.
was crazy too because there was like a little girl cheerleading like show going on, and there was like 100 of them, and these dudes are just like in the middle of them, like just punting. I was like, yo, like, what if they hit one of them with the ball, bro? And
These are like
ruin their
5-year-old girls, bro, cheering. They were just pop.
Bro, it sucks. Like you lose 2 games this year because you can't have a competent kicking game. Like it's
You lost the
just
game
like-
last year because you didn't have a kicker.
Yeah,
Like, how is this still a problem?
yeah, it's ridiculous. But
It's
that's
not a-
only
I mean, hot take. Kickers should make their kicks, bro. Like
That's a good take. I
inside
like that
40 yards.
Especially PATs. Like, all right, you miss a couple field goals, that happens. But like,
It's the only thing you
Who
do.
missed
does it
field
though,
goal.
bro?
You
You're
missed
doing
eight
the
field
same
goal.
fucking thing your whole
Right.
life.
Yeah,
You
but did you
can't-
know that kicker, like in one of his training videos, made a 65-yarder barefoot?
yo, that's sick. He didn't make a fucking PAT. He missed not one, but 2 of them.
Nah, dude, the kick is what's going to get the most attention, but I think it was ridiculous how they scored so quickly.
Yes.
Had they scored, because the Broncos had no timeouts left, they could have waited. Jackson Dart extended for that, and he got the touchdown, but let's just say he didn't. You have 30-something seconds left on the clock. That's going down. The next time you line up, there's 18 seconds left, and then you can QB sneak it. They were at the 1-yard
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
It's not like they really, come on. You just need to push yourself in there. You had 3 tries to do it because it was 1st and goal,
Yep.
and they scored on 1st
Bro,
and
you don't
goal.
know the New York Giants.
But
We don't
amount
make
of time,
those.
that amount of time they left for the Broncos is why they were able to get a field goal and walk it off.
And then how Shane Bowen plays that too. You've been getting pressure on Bo Nix all day. He's been terrible under pressure all season. And then you're dropping 8. And then on the final play that got them in the field goal range, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter on the sideline. How does that happen?
I'm surprised he's not fired already. Truth be told, I'm
Giants
surprised
fans been complaining about him a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like he's not using his personnel right. You see flashes of what the Giants defense could be when they're used correctly, but I think that's ridiculous. I mean, dropping 8 when you're a team that's best 4 players are on the front
Right.
4, it makes no sense. So, the Broncos got away with one. Shout out to them, but this is not something that I feel like overly impressed about.
They've 2 weeks in a row they got away with one.
It was
It's
an impressive win, but am I impressed with them as a team overall moving forward? I feel the same about them as I did walking into this game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
agreed.
But that's not our only takeaway from Week 7. Week 7 had a bunch of blowouts and a few really great games. So I'm curious as to what our Week 7 takeaways are for the NFL season. Go ahead, Joel. Start us off with your main takeaway from Week 7.
My main takeaway is that the Kansas City Chiefs are back, and Patrick Mahomes is winning his 3rd MVP.
Talk about it.
MV3 for Patty Mahomes. The offense is the best that it's looked since 2022, and I think this offense is even better than 2022 because that year Juju was their 2nd best receiver and had 900 yards that year. But now we finally see how much a quarterback's numbers can be impacted by supporting cast. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, having his full cast of guys out there. This offense only played 5 drives, and Patrick Mahomes in only 5 drives in the game had over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's how good Patrick Mahomes was. I think right now he's currently the leader in quarterback yards amongst everybody. We're counting passing and rushing yards. Total touchdowns as well. The offense, since Xavier Worthy has been back, they have scored 30, 30, and 30 almost in every game. So this is a team that is finding its stride, and in years past, they've leaned on the defense. But to me, if you have Patrick Mahomes on your team, the strength has to be the offense. Even if you're sacrificing that defensive talent a little bit, you need to empower Patrick Mahomes as much as possible. And it was supposed to look like this last year if they were healthy, but they weren't healthy, and now we're seeing how it can look. And this, to me, is the best team in the AFC. I think they're going back to the Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes is going to win another MVP.
I mean, Rashee Rice has made a total difference too. Even just watching the game, the offense looks so much more fluid, and it looks how it was supposed to be looking since he's been out. It's kind of looked a little choppy at points, but now that he's back into his role, there's no misses.
I just love the version of Patrick Mahomes that could put up 50 touchdowns and be a 35-point per game offense is still there after watching the greatest game manager we've ever seen in our entire lives for a few years. So he went through that phase. He's still got that in him if he needs it, but we clearly see that the elite version, the MVP version of Patrick Mahomes is still in there. And I think it might be as simple as the Chiefs are going to win the title this year. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, yeah, I know you're used to debating for Patrick Mahomes on your show, but here you're not going to need to debate
We're
for
all-
him. We're all in
Yeah.
agreement here. I mean, what he's doing right now, I'm not going to say he's been the best quarterback in the league because I think someone else has, but he's playing at an MVP level. Like you said, he's playing the best he's played since 2022, and he has his swagger back too. I mean, he's throwing no-look passes out there. He's talking shit. Like,
We're in the shoulder.
he knows that he's back, and he knows that he's making a statement this year. And I mean, yeah, the AFC is as wide open as it's ever been. Like, they should be, I'm sure, on FanDuel right now. They're the clear betting favorite to win the AFC.
He's playing like a quarterback that doesn't have to be perfect every drive.
Right.
Yes.
With his supporting cast the last 2 years, he couldn't make a mistake because you didn't know if they can iron out another drive. You know, with this current iteration, he was just trying things out there against the Raiders. He got picked off almost twice, and it really didn't matter. He was just trying out there because he said, we have enough talent to score on every single drive. So now he has more room for error, and I think that's the best version, and that's how we see these numbers pop up for him.
I like that you say that because I also think he's playing like he has something to prove this year. For a guy that has 3 Super Bowls, it's a terrifying thought. He's still playing like – because people doubted that he had this in him still, which is crazy to me. But here it is. I mean, he's still that guy. So
Yeah.
And he's doing it with no run game too, which I think goes under the radar when we talk about these great quarterbacks. Because I know there's a group of people out there who just decided that Lamar and Josh were better than him. I mean, Lamar Jackson played with Derrick Henry last year, who had 2,000 yards. Josh Allen and the Bills obviously have a great run game. You know, we've seen these great quarterbacks these past couple of years have great run games, and Patrick Mahomes is doing what he's doing now, which is better than anything he's done the past 2 years. It's not like they magically found a run game. They still
Brees
have
Hall
no run
incoming.
game. That'd be crazy, but they still have no run game, and he's still playing like a top-of-the-line quarterback, and he's putting up the counting stats that is a top-of-the-line quarterback, which he hasn't done in the past 2 years. So I think that to me is the most impressive part about it, because I feel like if you told me, like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is back to form, like, before the season started, I would have said, like, oh, he probably has some help from his run game. Nope, it's just Patrick Mahomes just slinging that rock. So it's been
and being
impressive.
the run game.
I was going to say
And
he is
being
the run
the
game
game,
in,
right.
in its entirety. Yeah, he was my preseason pick to win the MVP, and you know it's narrative based too. So he has the revenge tour that they got absolutely embarrassed by the Eagles, and he's coming out saying, "I'm not letting that happen again. Like I'm still that guy." I mean, they were saying Joe Burrow was better than him. Like that was a real thing in the offseason, I remember, and that he wasn't the best quarterback in the NFL, and even into this season, like it took
It got hella disrespectful.
yeah, and it took till this week or last week for people to realize he's still Patrick Mahomes. He's still the best. So I completely agree with you.
Especially
Yeah.
the comments, bro. The comments go crazy, bro.
Insane.
There's the worst.
Insane.
The least ball knowledge I've ever seen in my life.
And they'll tell
happen
you
in
you're
our
a
comments.
dumbass. They'll tell you you're a dumbass.
We
after
did,
saying the most egregious take ever.
We did like guessing like which players rated higher in Madden, and it was Burrow and Mahomes before the season started. And Burrow was rated higher, and like when we found that out, we were like, "What the hell? Like that's crazy." So many comments like, "What do you mean that's crazy? Burrow's clearly the better quarterback. What are you guys talking about?" Come on,
I just
bro.
think he's just been disrespected because of his supporting cast.
Yeah.
And,
100%.
you know, the numbers are the reason why people, because that's all people look at. They just look at the numbers. They don't look at the situation. And they like to make excuses for everybody. They like to make excuses for Lamar Jackson, for Josh Allen,
Yep.
for Joe Burrow. But when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, the offensive line play, the fact that the left tackle gave up the most pressure percentage in the NFL last year, it doesn't matter. It just matters that if it happens to Joe Burrow. Oh, lack of weapons, it just matters if that's Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. But when all of those things are simultaneously happening for Patrick Mahomes, it just gets ignored and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but he has a good defense and Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That matters. And Andy Reid.
And you want to talk about a guy who elevates talent. Nobody elevates talent in the NFL better than Patrick Mahomes.
And it's crazy because, like, you look at the Bills' defense, if points allowed per game, the Bengals, the Ravens, you know, all of them are pretty much higher than, they're lower than Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes' defense allows the most points per game amongst all those quarterbacks in a playoff setting. So Mahomes is dealing with the worst defense in terms of points per game allowed, and he's won more than them. The difference is that you don't have to make excuses for Mahomes because he wins. With the excuses you can make for other quarterbacks, you don't have to make the excuse for him that he has no weapons. We know that Lamar got no weapons. He doesn't win, though. Mahomes has won with every single excuse that people use for other quarterbacks. So I think that just says a lot about him.
100%.
Fully agree.
Full
What
agreement.
do you got first, Ian?
My biggest takeaway was that the Patriots are going to win the division over the Bills this year. I love how Drake May's been playing. He's playing at an MVP level. And I was taking a look ahead at their schedule rest this season just to get an idea of how realistic it would be for them to get those wins that they would need to win the division. They got the Jets 2 times. They haven't even versed the Jets yet, and they're 5-2. Those are, as a Jet fan,
Chalk 'em
I
up,
watch
yeah.
them chalk them up to 2 wins, I'm not going to lie. Then they got the Giants, Dolphins, Browns, a lot of winnable
Wait
games.
till they lose to us, yeah.
And this past week, we saw Drake May beat Tom Brady's franchise record of completion percentage in a game, like the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. We saw Drake May beat that in his second year of 91.5% in a game. They haven't even tapped into their second-round pick in Travion yet. Like, they neglect to give him the ball. Not sure why, but I'm sure at some point they will, and he will be cracked.
He might be ass.
I don't think so. I mean, they haven't even given him a chance to be great yet, but we'll see. I think he'll be fine. And then also Will Campbell. Will Campbell, man. What a guy. Really saving that offensive line, completely turning it around from what they were last season, which is one of the worst units in the league, propelling them to a top 10 offensive line in the league right now. It's pretty impressive. It's made all the difference for that Patriots offense. Like, you could say the Stephon Diggs and the booty, but like, it's really
The booty. The booty is crazy. The booty is crazy.
but really, it's behind the back of Will Campbell. That's why they're able to do everything they're doing, is because of how well he's been playing. And Vrabel has done a great job with that team thus far. I think, given how inconsistent we've seen the Bills the last couple weeks, I think the Patriots have a chance to overtake them this year.
I mean, yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. I've said for the last few weeks that the Bills have flaws that just aren't being brought to attention as much as they need to be. The Patriots are by no means a perfect team, but they are less flawed than the Bills are. And also, yeah, I mean, we said it in the offseason, Dean. I said, look at the Quentin Nelson effect with the Colts when he came into the league. Will Campbell is a generational offensive tackle talent, in my personal opinion, and had the ability to turn the whole thing around. Yes, they've made additions.
Bro, they were talking about his little arms, bro.
Exactly.
They were talking about his little arms.
It was a
When
real
are we
thing.
just going to realize that when you have a guy that is so near perfect with his technique, that shit doesn't matter anymore? Yeah, if he's ass in terms of how he gets set, how quickly he could get through his progressions. Jeez, how quickly he could get in a pass set and stuff. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. So I thought bringing in Morgan Moses as a vet tackle on the other side too, huge addition. Huge
for the
addition.
presence, yeah.
So they did a great job this offseason. I was trying to say, like, they've been.
You said
We were early on the Patriots, Dean.
people were disagreeing with
We were
you.
early on the
People
Patriots,
were.
Dean.
People were indeed.
Not us.
Not us. Couldn't have been
Nah,
us.
you guys.
Never us.
No, the Patriots have been impressive. They've also played a cupcake schedule, which I guess can't really
You
use
can
that
only-
as an
can only
argument.
play the
but-
They've
teams
beaten
that
the
are
brakes
in
off
front
of
of
them
you.
too. So
because and they only continue to play a cupcake schedule. So
beat the Bills.
they are not winning the division, though. Josh Allen's just not going to let it happen. I understand that the Bills have had 2 poor weeks in a row. I said this last week. The Bills couldn't have gotten their bye at a better time. You lose 2 games. You look really underwhelming. Josh Allen doesn't look the best. What better timing to get a week off, to reset, and to come out strong the following week. The Bills are going to be just fine. It's Josh Allen. It's Sean McDermott. They run this division. I like the Patriots. I like what they're doing. Like, congrats to you guys for making the call, but they're not. The Bills aren't losing the division.
They ran the division. Mike Vrabel runs the division now, but that's the difference. So
Which is crazy because they ran the division for 20 years.
they did, and they're right on back.
They're right back.
They're right on back.
5 years later. It's not fair.
So
by
what do you
any
think?
means.
I had the Patriots making the playoffs before the year. So
Nice.
I think that they're going to be fighting for the division. I don't think they win it because I think the Buffalo Bills, they have an easy schedule and they're going to be back. You know, you have such a safe floor with Josh Allen. But the Patriots, even before the season, when I looked at their schedule, they had the second easiest one in the league. And to me, they were a 10-7 football team. So if they are even better than what I expect them to be, they already have their head-to-head against Buffalo. They win a couple games that nobody's expecting them to win, which they already did when they beat Buffalo. They beat them again. I think there is an avenue for them to do that. And it's really this entire team. The defense has gotten better with Gonzalez coming back. The offensive line you mentioned, Drake May's playing at a fantastic level. And I think that Josh McDaniels is not getting enough credit for, calling the proper plays and sequence for Drake May to capitalize on, because you see the sprinkles every week of Drake May making some just insane throw with pinpoint accuracy, and it's throws that, it takes a high degree of difficulty to make them. But sprinkled in the game is a lot of rollouts, quick completions, things that are designed to get yards after catch. And Drake May is doing all that, and then he's going above and beyond. So he's playing within the offense, but when the offense needs him to do something more and be Drake May, he can do that too. So I think the fact that they have a quarterback that already could be a top 10 quarterback when the season ends gives them a big advantage, and it gives them somebody that can go toe-to-toe with Josh Allen.
Yes.
And that's the thing, because right now, what really separates the Patriots from the Bills outside of they have Josh Allen and Drake May is unproven, quote unquote. If you look at their rosters, what really separates the Patriots and the Bills?
It's the quarterback.
Because the front four,
The rest of the roster
running back
is
game.
the Patriots, except for the offensive line and pass protection.
Run game favors the
because I
Bills.
like the
The
Patriots
run game.
corners better. I like Gonzalez and I like
for
Carlton
sure.
Davis better. I like the Patriots interior with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, Keon White, Harold Landry. I think the defensive line is a chalk up. The Bills have better linebackers. The offensive line, the Bills have a better offensive line. But what I'm saying is the Patriots are essentially a great value Bills. And this is the first Patriots year where they're competent. And they have a quarterback on a rookie contract. So if they have another awesome offseason, they draft well, they're going to overtake them. They're going to have a significantly better roster because it's just the advantage of having a quarterback on a rookie deal versus a quarterback making top-end money. And every draft pick, essentially, for teams that pay quarterbacks a ton of money have to be hits.
Right.
Yeah.
If they're not hits, you're going to have a significant weakness on the roster. And we see that with the Bills right now.
Yeah. It's I agree with you. I think it's just the Bills division right now, but I also agree. And they spent a ton of money this offseason, so they're not going to be afraid to do it to revamp the roster a little bit and make it and overtake the Bills from a roster standpoint. But like you said, the Bills schedule is I see the Chiefs and the Bucks, but I also see the Bengals, Texans, Dolphins, Panthers, Browns. So it's close. Patriots might have the better schedule, but yeah, I think like you said, Josh Allen's just not gonna.
Even
not
a
gonna
few
let
of
it
the ones
happen.
that you just said are not guaranteed wins. Yeah, they're the Bills, but they are not guaranteed wins.
I think if it's because it'll be a tight race. I don't think the Patriots are winning no 15 games, but it'll be
Also, when they're playing for something,
Right, that's
and
what I
there's
was getting
something
at,
on the
yeah.
line, Josh Allen's going to step up and get the job done. There's not a doubt in my mind.
I mean, he dragged them back against the Ravens that week one. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
When when they have to win, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like something was on the line when you played the Patriots a few weeks ago and you lost that game.
The Bills just had their worst game. We all got up here and said that. The Bills had their worst game they were gonna have.
We'll see them again in Foxborough.
Wheel?
Here he goes again.
I'm staking my claim. Hey, bro. Shout out them for beating Iona Prep, but
You would say
Shout out
that.
them.
bro.
Shout out the line.
Shout out
What about
them.
shout out us?
Shout out them. What?
What about shout out us? What happened?
shout out us?
I thought it was us. I thought it was
Nah,
we.
Yo,
bro.
did we go to that VP, yo?
Yeah, Matty J
Yo,
was at the
he was
VP.
at the
I never said that.
It was definitely
Never
VP.
said
doing
that.
peg stands at the Farrell VP, bro.
He dropped his cousin off, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna come in for a minute."
No,
He
his
wore
cousin
his-
was holding him up.
He wore a senior sweater too, bro. He wore the senior sweater.
This is what happens. This is what happens on this podcast. This high school wins. Yeah, this is my alma mater. Yes, they had a big win this
And the VP was a banger.
Yeah, bro, you're an idiot. You're such an idiot. Anyways, yeah, the Patriots are going to beat the Bills for the second time this season. So That's all I got out of that.
I agree
No, the
with you, though.
Patriots have been super impressive, though. I
100%.
think I agree with the Josh McDaniels point. I think it's a really, really good balance of we have an infrastructure, we're making the game easy for Drake May, but also like allowing Drake May to shine and not like a Bo Nix having training wheels on him in a way, like letting Drake May go out there and make plays, and even hasn't been many of them, but even giving him the opportunity to make mistakes in a way, like letting him do his thing and learn on the fly. I think it's been a really, really good balance. And I think I agree, Josh McDaniels definitely needs more credit for this operation, because I think Drake May has obviously gotten his credit around
Yeah.
the media space.
Safe to say.
So I think Josh McDaniels definitely doing a great job.
McDaniel's one of those guys that can never be a head coach, but a damn good offensive coordinator. So
For sure. My biggest takeaway from week 7 is that Dak Prescott is playing like the best quarterback in football this year, and I don't even think it's that close. I mean, 1,800, 1,900 damn near total yards, 16 passing touchdowns, only 3 picks. His last 4 games, 264-3, 261-3, 237-4, and 319-3. I mean, 4 straight games with 3+ touchdowns and no interceptions is just absolutely insane. He was doing it for 3 weeks out of those 4 with no CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb comes back and has a immediate impact, over 100 yards and a touchdown. Granted, against the Commanders Swiss cheese defense, but I mean, the way Dak is, it's kind of very similar to Mahomes this year, where he has elite command over the offense and he's not making mistakes, but also he's playing with a swag right now that I don't think I've seen Dak play with in his career. Dak's had some great years, but I think Dak's going out there right now and he knows, like, I'm basically unfuckwittable right now. So I think what Dak's doing right now has just been super duper impressive, and I think he's been the best quarterback in football so far.
I think George Pickens has been what the offense has needed, a secondary receiver, because you have CeeDee Lamb that could win it any way, but he really shines in intermediate parts of the field. George Pickens, whenever there's a 50-50 chance, you just throw it up to him and he's going to catch it. And I think that Dak now has somebody that he doesn't have to lock in on. And we even saw Pickens produce like a number 1 wide receiver when CeeDee Lamb was out. So I think that Dak is playing amazing. I don't even think that you can even really debate for somebody with full conviction that he's playing better than Dak, because Dak has just been that good. And he's going to be what has to carry this team to the playoffs if they make it. The defense is awful, although best performance of the season against Washington, their defensive line really shined, and that's an area of their team that, you know, if you see any flashes of hope from them, you feel really good about. So the Cowboys, I think, are overall in not a bad spot after trading Micah Parsons. Like, I think they have those multiple first-round picks to recoup and get some more defenders there. You have George Pickens. We'll see if he stays on the roster, because there's going to be a contract negotiation that goes on with him. But overall, like, this is a very fun Cowboys team to watch right now.
I was having this conversation with my brother before. I compare it almost directly to Joe Burrow and the Bengals last year, where if Dak somehow gets them into the playoffs, he's probably the MVP. Like, if the other guy's numbers are down too, like, people will be beating that drum for him too. So he's been playing lights out. I mean, yeah, like you said, 13 touchdowns in 4 games. Like, that's unbelievable.
He's
and
been unconscious, dude. Like, it's insane.
He's looked as sharper than he's ever looked in his
best version of Dak
career. 100%. He's slimmed down. He's moving so much better and just getting the ball quick. And like you said, he knows he can make any throw. He knows he can throw somebody open. So yeah, he's been absolutely unreal. It's not.
Schottenheimer's been awesome too.
Yeah.
Schotty's been great. 2 arguments, and I don't even fully believe in either one, but Baker and Drake would be the only 2 guys that come to my mind in terms of quarterback play so far this season. Baker, because it's all leading to wins as well, and down the stretch of every single game, he without fail comes through. And then Drake has just been like legitimately near perfect as close to perfect as possible. So that's it.
I think Dak's actually been damn near perfect. Drake, if like we're talking the season's totality, he wasn't great he was pretty bad, honestly, against Vegas in week 1, and then against the Steelers, he wasn't too good too. Like, if we're going like on a game-by-game thing, I think Dak hasn't had a bad game. Drake May, you could say, has had a bad game. In terms of Baker, I mean, Might
See.
lose right now.
0
see.
points right
0
now.
points right now. It's not looking too hot for
It's a
him.
long game.
It's not looking too hot for Baker right now. So,
I throw Pat in there too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pat,
yeah,
no,
for
Pat
sure,
definitely
for
as well. Yeah,
We were just.
I know, yeah.
just
Like,
talking
I'm just
about
making
it.
sure that's
it's
said.
because we
yeah.
praise him so damn.
Yeah,
much,
I'm just
bro.
making sure that's said. You know,
cool Dak Prescott stat. He's the 6th player all time with 40 games of 3 or more passing touchdowns in a quarterback's first 10 seasons, joining Peyton, Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, Rodgers, and Russell Wilson.
Dak's got to get out of Dallas, bro. I really think so.
Dallas just needs a defense. It'd be crazy if they had like a
generation.
Michael
premier
Parsons?
pass rusher.
Yeah, probably.
That'd be nuts.
It would be
Granted,
pretty
I saw a
crazy.
stat that they're top 7 in the NFL in pressure percentage. There is that. Their defensive
I
line.
feel like their defense, like as a whole, has been better than I anticipated it to be
I
at
mean,
times.
Their pass D is terrible.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
the
No, it
worst.
definitely
Their
is.
run D also is not good at all. But
I feel like they've shown some flashes though here
Sure.
and there where it's like, okay, they might be not the worst ever. You know
They're
what I
ass,
mean?
though.
Like,
There's
yeah,
some
no,
flashes.
they're definitely bad, but
But
I feel like
overall,
I've seen some flashes.
more often than not,
Like with the Commanders game, you don't play without Debo. You play without Terry McLaurin. That was the first game that year that they played that much man coverage.
Yes.
And it's because, you trust Trayvon
Right.
Diggs guarding Chris Moore
Right.
or whoever else, right? So they didn't really have to play zone coverage because usually they're a zone coverage heavy team, and that's where they've been very vulnerable. But against Washington, they switched up the game plan, and maybe they should task their corners that they pay a lot of money to play more man-to-man coverage. And I feel like their defense has been one of the worst in the league. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but they have moments. I think, like, against Philadelphia, it looked good. And then
Right.
against Washington, it looked good. But overall, like, I still think the Panthers comeback comes to my mind. The Giants and Russell Wilson scoring as many points and having 400-yard game against them comes to mind.
Oh no, they're definitely ass. But
They're
like,
real
Yeah.
bad.
in terms of my expectations, like I feel like I've seen more flashes than I expected to see.
I
from
believe
them.
they just opened the practice window on DeMarvion Overshown too, which like you take any good defensive player you
yeah,
can
yeah.
get at
For
this
sure.
point if you're the Cowboys.
He was great for
so-
them last year, Overshown. So.
So you hope that he comes back healthy if you're Dallas. But I mean, yeah, if Dak makes the playoffs, he should win the MVP. But I don't think they're making the
It's
playoffs.
gonna be real tough.
NFC's
to do
tough,
that.
bro. NFC's got a lot
very
of really
tough.
good football teams.
Yeah,
So-
especially when they're in a division with the Giants. Yeah.
Exactly. Good point. You're making great statements actually over there, Dean.
The NFC is tough, and my Week 7 takeaway is that the Los Angeles Rams will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. They just look outstanding, in my opinion. They are second in fewest points allowed per game. That defense is balling, and on PFF they have the, not the be-all, end-all, but just to give you an idea, second highest graded offense, third highest graded defense, second highest graded run defense, sixth in pressure rate, and third in coverage.
PFF's
Coverage
having a
grade.
rough week, bro.
They love the Rams, though,
They're
so
getting
you know what?
Shit on this week.
PFF is good for when you have something in mind and you want to back it up. You go to PFF and you pick the stats. But it is great. I mean, Stafford's also been playing like one of the best quarterbacks in football. He just threw 5 touchdowns with no Puka Nacua, who has been playing like the best receiver in football. And when he gets back, it'll only open up another element to this offense. And I know their corners are a worry. I think they can play well enough to go up against these guys in the NFC, in the playoffs in the NFC. And when you get to those playoffs, you don't want to see Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes, 2 guys you don't want to see in a playoff game. No one I trust more in this NFC. I know other guys are playing really well, but Stafford can outplay all of them, and I trust him too.
So I'm not disagreeing with you, but I feel like you're disagreeing with yourself in a way. You're taking Stafford and the Rams over your Bucks. That's your team. Baker playing at an MVP
I know.
level.
And listen, if the Bucks like beat the hell out of the Lions, then yeah,
You're
I'll,
changing your mind?
I'll change back. But
Like tonight.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm saying if the Bucks win by like 3 scores,
So you don't
yeah,
actually
it's-
believe in this
No, but they would
takeaway.
still
No, I
be
do.
considered a Week 7 takeaway.
sure.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I'm working with what I got.
I get it. Yeah.
I think the
What I
Rams
got too, bro. Don't worry.
are.
Fucking go.
I
Sometimes that's all you could do is work with what you got. You know what I mean?
Can't make more of a bad situation, I guess.
motion in the ocean, right? But I think Baker playing like Superman does mask some of the deficiencies on the Bucks, and I think the Rams are a much more well-rounded team. I mean, they have some actual dogs on that defense, and I said about the Bucks, their defense might not be great. They make timely stops, I think, and get the Buccaneers wins. I think the Rams defense is actually great. I mean, Jared Verse is one of those guys. Their run defense has been elite. Their open field tacklers at linebacker, they've been great, and so I think they're really great on the defensive side of the ball. And the Bucs are still banged up, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think it's the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a Rams guy all year. Been a Rams guy in the offseason, so I don't know. I fully believe in. I think the NFC doesn't have a clear-cut team right now. And you could maybe argue one team that Joel is a big fan of. I think it's completely wide open and anyone could beat anyone. I don't believe in the Eagles to the extent of saying that they're the favorite. I haven't seen enough from the Packers to believe that I could say they're the favorite. Like, anybody can win it. And when it comes down to it, Matthew Stafford, I don't think I'd take anyone in the NFC in a big game over him. Not a single quarterback. So when the defense is balling like that, I think they need to make a trade still. I think they should go get Denzel Ward.
Yeah,
I think it makes too much sense, but you know, they're not cheap. They'll throw a first round if they need to. So I think that's the move. That is the one move that like will take them to a whole nother level in my personal opinion. So
There's a lot of time left. I'm conflicted with the Rams because I trust them. I love Matthew Stafford. I love Sean McVay. But it seems like they're the only team that bad moments don't matter for. And that's where I kind of get pissed off when I think about the Rams. Because the Packers get nitpicked for every bad or underwhelming moment. The LA Rams get nitpicked. I mean, no, not the Rams. Sorry.
Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles get nitpicked for a close game, a bad run game, a bad defensive performance. But it seems like the Rams have complete immunity. They completely blow a game at home to the 49ers and lose to an injured Mac Jones with Kendrick Bourne being the number one wide receiver. And nobody cares about that. That's not something to be worried about. That's not, oh, now the Rams are on a fraud watch. It seems like they have complete immunity for something they've done 4 years ago. Because, yes, you trust Stafford and McVay because they've won before, but the last time they won was in 2021. The last time they made a deep playoff run was in 2021. The last 2 years, they've started out the season slow, they got hot, and guess what? They lost in the first round and then in the second round. So overall, like when I'm looking at the Rams, how much longer am I giving them this long leeway and this leash when what they accomplished was 4 years ago?
in that same vein, I mean, you mentioned that they got bounced last year. They pushed the Eagles, a team that blew almost everybody out throughout that playoff run, to the toughest game and the final play of that game. I think on top of that, we've seen the Eagles in the past collapse after losing a valuable coordinator. And yes, they lost 2 that year, but still, I haven't seen anything from the Packers to believe that they can do it just yet. Granted, they're 4-1-1, been a solid regular season. I haven't seen them take a jump. And I'm a big Packers believer, but for me, I've already seen Stafford and the Rams do it. I know Sean McVay has a proven track record of doing it. And again, last year, they did find playoff success, not the success that you want, but you nearly beat the team that ended up dog-walking everybody to the Super Bowl. So
you barely beat them, but then I look at the Packers, and the Eagles barely beat them week 1. I know it's week 1, but then in the playoffs, the Packers and the Eagles were in a 1-score game in the fourth quarter, and the Packers had multiple receivers down, an offensive lineman down. They didn't have any Micah Parsons, and we saw that they were able to neutralize the Eagles completely. You know, that game was more so Jordan Love. He didn't play well. He threw 3 interceptions, so I could understand how you trust Stafford over Jordan Love. There's no doubt about it, but I just think that the Rams are not this completely flawless team. Like, even those defensive numbers that you mentioned me, where they're second in points allowed, to me, I kind of don't believe that too much. You know, I know that is what it is, but the defensive line is their saving grace of the defense.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
the secondary is very vulnerable, and the linebackers are very vulnerable. So I look at the Rams in totality, and it's like they have some real weaknesses that on a week-to-week basis get ignored. And I just feel like when it comes to them, nobody ever touches that subject of, hey, maybe the Rams aren't as good as we think this year. Because before this game against the Jaguars, did you know that they were outside of the top 10 in EPA per play on offense? That's around the same ranking that people told me Mahomes was regressing over.
Yeah.
So it seems like with Matthew Stafford having Devontae Adams and Puka at his disposal with Sean McVay and a good offensive line, there is no mention of regression. I'm not saying that Stafford is, but when Mahomes has a similar offensive ranking with a completely different supporting cast, he's regressing, he's underwhelming, but the Rams not being top 5 in every single offensive category isn't underwhelming at all with what we expect from them on a week-to-week basis.
It's tough with the Rams because I think their biggest weakness is their secondary. Even though, like, overall in totality, their passing defense has been actually, I'm pretty sure, top 10 in basically every big stat. I think we could all agree their secondary is not good and can
100%.
be exposed. And then you look at the NFC, there's teams that can expose that. You look at the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. You look at a team like the Lions with Jared Goff slinging that rock. Even a team like the Eagles, after what we saw this past week with Jalen Hurts and those receivers, they're vulnerable. But then I look at the other side of it. It's like, okay, their secondary's weak. They might get beat in the passing game. I trust Stafford in a shootout against those teams. So
Right.
it's tough. It's tough with the, like, honestly speaking, I might be taking the easy way out. I don't know if I have a favorite in the NFC.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough because I could see the Rams being the favorite and winning the NFC, but I could also see them getting bounced in the first round. Like, it's tough, man.
If I had to pick one, I'm probably saying the Packers. If I had to pick one. Granted, their 2 playoff losses have been because Jordan Love just hasn't been good enough in those games specifically, but I still think I'd say the Packers, personally.
I mean, I'm
Probably taking the Eagles
taking
still,
the
yeah.
Eagles.
Yeah.
This year.
I think even with their deficiencies, I'm still taking the Eagles. They still have an elite defense. They still have elite
Elite is
weapons
pushing
on
it.
offense.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they have an elite?
Elite is pushing it. It's not elite. It's
They're
not elite.
they're missing those guys from last year, dude.
It's dang near elite.
They're talking about Brandon Graham potentially coming back from retirement because did he officially?
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Breaking news. There it is. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, how much could you really expect out of that?
I mean, he was good
Gotta
last
respect
year.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but he's
then he
coming
got
off-
hurt.
coming off
But
the
he was
couch,
good.
though.
Yeah, he got
I
hurt.
think he'll be solid.
He will. Yeah. He's
hope.
rock solid, but I don't give a shit. Like, that doesn't change the fact that you don't have a CB2, and your CB2 is a Doray Jackson or Keeley Ringo, whoever you want to choose on a given night.
You're not messing with.
I
Keeley
get
Ringo?
the Eagles having immunity because they won last year. You know, any team that wins basically
Right.
has that sort of immunity, even though it wasn't given to the Chiefs when they won.
Right.
But you know, it is what it is. With the Philadelphia Eagles, though, Nolan Smith's on IR, and he's gonna come back. So when he comes back, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Jomo, Brandon Graham, I think they'll have more than enough juice on the defensive line, and they're gonna have the best linebacking core in the NFL. What I'm looking forward to them is seeing if the run game is going to pick up at all.
100%.
If they're going to be a team that's more reliant on Jalen Hurts' arm this year versus the run game last year, because last year was the run game backpacked.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts in moments played well, but overall he didn't need to put up 300 yards every game. But we saw against Minnesota, a vulnerable run defense, Saquon Barkley averaged less than 3 yards per carry.
Yep.
He's playing terrible this year, but the offensive line has also been terrible.
Yep.
So if the Eagles don't have that component to lean on, it's much different than last year. Like last year, they completely dominated and skated by just off of talent.
Yeah.
And, you know, the defense is the saving grace, but even offensively, I felt like they were underwhelming. This year, they have less talent, but they still have enough talent to where it's more talent than the entirety of the NFC.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they are 5-2 right now solely because of their talent. It hasn't even been schematics. It hasn't been great coaching. It hasn't been great quarterback play. It hasn't been great offensive play. It's been entirely because they're so talented to the point that they can coast, skate by, and be 5-2 and feel still underwhelming.
So that's where I agree. You were like, you know, we got up here the last couple of weeks, like panicking about the Eagles, but like just as Joel's saying, like they have way more talent than anybody else in that conference.
I don't know about that anymore, though. I
Who's
don't.
going toe to toe to them in
In terms of talent, I think the only thing that's lacking for the Packers is the number one wide receiver.
Right.
Yes, but I think the rest of the roster is just as good, if not better, in my personal opinion.
but them not having that number one receiver is like
Huge.
pretty big for the Packers, and it's something they've been struggling with the past few years, and it's something that the Eagles clearly don't struggle with. Obviously, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are both great wide receivers. Like they have all of it. Like put the Packers coaching staff on the Eagles, they'd be the greatest team of all time.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But that's just not how it shapes out. And I just feel like in the playoffs, a lot of the time, the talent wins out.
I don't agree with
I mean, last time when the Eagles had a bunch of talent and lost their coordinators, like you said, they got exposed by Baker, and they had a clear hole on that team, which was their secondary, and it was a
They
like I said,
also were downward spiraling into the
Right.
playoffs.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
They had
That's true.
DeAndre
I think
Swift at
oh,
running back.
think like betting favorites, the Eagles were probably favorites in that game, but I know damn well like on my FanDuel, I was taking the Buccaneers. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people were picking that upset. It was a pretty clear upset. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we expected the Eagles to lose that game. So I don't know how they look going into the playoffs, but they definitely have time to kind of figure out an identity. It's kind of similar to what I was saying about the Broncos before, to where they haven't played their best football, but they still sit in a great spot
Right.
at 5-2, and there's more than enough time for them to figure things out and figure out an identity of if they're going to be a pass-heavy team and rely on Jalen Hurts' arm, or if this run game is going to figure itself out. Because I kind of agree with the both of you in terms of like the defense is still super talented, and as they get their guys back, they'll figure it out and probably be the best defense in the NFC come playoff time.
Right, because they could also pick their poison. Like, you got Saquon Barkley, and then you could also sling it to AJ. Like, you don't have to be one-dimensional.
it hasn't been
You
that
don't-
though.
But I was about to say, like, it
like
hasn't.
the run game has, like you said, like
It hasn't, but like Chris is saying, like, you could.
I just think it's going to come.
But when do we stop thinking, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen?
Well, we're not even
we've
halfway
seen
through the
7
season.
weeks of a dog shit run game, like 7 full weeks of that, and it's like
and they're still 5-2.
still gonna. I get that, but come playoff time, this is a completely different story. You can't. Last year, they literally had 150 rushing yards a game is what they averaged. So we were like, all right, going into the playoffs, top defense, top running game. Yeah, it makes sense. They're probably going to walk to the Super Bowl. They did. This year, they don't have a good running game. Their defense has been shaky. And yes, there's some missing parts, but like, I can't just sit here and ignore what I've seen to this point.
No, I agree with that, but I also feel like the teams that we're comparing them to also have flaws. The Packers have a glaring weakness in their offense, like Dean mentioned, with not having a number one wide receiver. Like that's a huge flaw, especially against these teams in the NFC. Like I mentioned before, like some of these playoff games are going to end up being shootouts.
Mhm.
You know, the Lions, the Bucks, the Eagles, you know, the Rams. So, like, I don't know if the Packers have enough offensive juice to go into a shootout. The Rams, I mentioned their secondary, you know, the Lions and Bucks, that's probably the biggest question with those teams if they could go on a run is the secondary, especially the Lions right now, given their secondaries all lying in hospital beds. But, like, I feel like all these teams in the NFC do have holes. So it's like, who am I going to trust right this second if I had to pick someone to come out? Probably the team that just did it, who I still think has the pieces in place to do it again, if that makes sense.
I will mention one thing about the offense being pass heavy. I think not having that run game could come back to bite them because their biggest vulnerability last season was the passing game. I think against the Vikings, it looked good, but I also saw a lot of moments where A.J. Brown was one-on-one with no safety help, and it was just easy pick'ems. You know, Jalen Hurts put the ball into place and let A.J. Brown go make a play. There were only 9 pass attempts that Jalen Hurts had all of last season after their bye week where he was trailing and he passed the football. That is
It's a ridiculous thing.
that is
that's
how
insane.
dominant the Eagles were last season, where they didn't need their quarterback to pass the ball at all in trailing situations. And in the Green Bay playoff game, he had the worst success rate, like historically bad success rate in the playoff game. They won because of the dominant roster. Against the Rams, he had a historically bad success rate. Like every quarterback that has had the success rate that he had in both those playoff games, they've lost. But the roster was so overwhelmingly dominant, it didn't matter. So this year, having those holes, it's really on whether or not Jalen Hurts is the quarterback that people think that he is, or is he not? You know, because with the weaknesses that they have now, with the ball now being forced more so going through him and the offense having to rely on his strengths and his arm, we'll see what the Eagles can be. You know, but I think there's room to be concerned about them just because of Kevin Patullo and the offensive coordinator. But
100%.
I'm not ruling them out until their bye week. Like if things don't improve after their bye week, then I think I'll start to be out on them. But they get in until the bye week. You know, the bye week is when you get to fix a lot of things that are wrong with your team, and you get to come back and see if that improves. So if it doesn't improve after that, then it's not going to.
Right.
But if it does, then we're going to see who the Eagles really are.
Right, because you mentioned, too, Jalen Hurts not having to pass the ball while trailing. If we talk about this year, we have seen it against the Rams. We've seen him step up while they were trailing and become a passer and lead a comeback victory. So it's not like it's something that we've – oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's not like it's something that we've never seen this year. We've also seen Jalen Hurts shrink a few times this year and not look the sharpest. So it's kind of like both sides of the coin. What you're alluding to, it's like, who is Jalen Hurts when the Eagles need him? And that's kind of going to determine their season, because I could agree with you that I don't know if the run game is going to necessarily – it's not going to get back to what it was last year. I
Not
think
even
we
close.
all agree there. But I kind of expect the run game to get going. It's Saquon Barkley. Like, they'll figure it out and get it going a little bit at some point. So, but
We know the history of guys that have had 400-plus touches the season after. I'm just saying, that's definitely still a concern. The guy had a shit ton of work last year.
It's a concern.
And has
but
had injuries in the past, too. Like,
I just feel like the overlying theme of this is just there's no other team where you're like, oh, they're clearly better than the Eagles. It just doesn't exist right now, or even a team that's really on their level
No
yet.
one
I
separates from
disagree
the
with
herd.
that. See, that's where I disagree. I'm not saying that they won't make the Super Bowl. I'm just saying they aren't the clear favorites, because I think they've lost talent this offseason and other teams have gained talent this offseason to where it's like they're not the clear-cut
No,
favorite.
they're
anymore.
I
not.
agree
But there's
with
no
that.
team
Yeah.
that's like clear them. That's also just not true.
It's a wide open NFC is
I
what I
agree.
was saying. But I don't want people looking at the Eagles and still saying like, oh, they're the clear-cut NFC favorite. Like, that's not the team anymore.
I think it still runs through them, though, where we stand right now. I don't even despite them being as bad as they have been, to like what Dean's saying, I don't think anyone else has separated themselves from the pack to where, like me personally, I'm still just like, the Eagles have time to figure it out and get better, and like they're probably the favorite too. No one has separated themselves to where it's like, yep, that's the favorite. It runs through them. You know what I mean?
Probably still the betting favorite. No,
Probably, yeah.
I did.
Out of the NFC, yeah, probably, I'd assume. But the final takeaway, I believe everyone got
Yeah.
theirs off to this point. The final takeaway that I had from week 7 of the NFL season, I don't think this is going to be a crazy conversation, but Rob Saleh is one of the best defensive minds I've ever seen, honest to God, in football. You got Tatum Bethune playing absolutely out of his mind last night.
What a
Bryce Huff
name.
looked
Sorry, what a name that is.
That is
I
a
like
dope
that
name.
one.
super dope name. And Bryce Huff, former Jet. Well, can't even point at you anymore, but former Jet. Balled out last night, too. He had a great game. He had a phenomenal game. I mean, this guy seems to manufacture a pass rush from absolutely anybody. You have Fred Warner and you have Nick Bosa out, and yet this team is somehow 5-2 with Mac Jones playing good football on the other side of things. The Niners are a team, in my opinion, that in the playoffs you definitely do not want to see. A great defensive coordinator and an elite offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan. The Niners are a problem. So, speaking of a wide open NFC.
Yeah, no pushback there. Rob Saleh has been super impressive with this group. He keeps losing guys, and somehow he keeps finding a way. So super
Yeah.
impressive
They
stuff.
develop linebackers like nobody I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's
like
ridiculous.
Like you said, no Warner, no Nick Bosa to still put out an elite defense is just unreal.
And the offense, a limited Kittle and a no Brock Purdy, no Pearsall. Ayuk obviously still been out since last year. Like, they just find ways to win, and it's been
Good football team.
insanely impressive, right? You go into, not that SoFi's a crazy place to play, but you go into SoFi and you take down the Rams, like we said before, who we all sit here and say that they're a potential contender this year. It's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, this week, everyone, this was the hot team coming out of week 6, the Atlanta Falcons. Everyone wanted to talk about the Atlanta Falcons, and then they go ahead and lay an egg on national television in a primetime game, and the Niners are the cause of that. They shut down Bijan. They basically shut down Drake London. Like, they had terrible games. And this is a defense that is supposed to be all kinds of banged up, doesn't have anywhere near the personnel they were supposed to have coming into the season. Oh, boy, I hope Mike Evans is okay.
Oh, man.
But all in all, like, yeah, it's an incredible job by the coaching this year for the San Francisco 49ers, and that's just what great organizations do. They just win football games. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we have a very special guest on the pod, as you guys obviously see, Mr. Joel Moran. And we had Joel give us his NFL contenders. And if you guys have watched for a little while, we're very strict about the word contender. We just don't throw anyone into that category. It are teams that actually can win the Super Bowl, not can make it, not maybe have a shot. Teams that could go the whole way and win the Super Bowl. So, Joel, who are your NFL contenders right now?
I'm glad you drew the line at what a contender is, because that's how I made my list. This is not a participation trophy award. This is a team who could goddamn do it.
Yep.
That's what it's about. And it's no dark horses in here. It's none of that. It's only bona fide teams that I'm looking at right now, and I'm saying, I mean, they could go the whole damn way. And number one is the Kansas City Chiefs. They've done it before. Their offense looks the best that it's looked in years, so there's no question about that. I was thinking about putting the Buffalo Bills in here. Well, why am I going to put a team that's never done it?
Thank you.
Why am I going to put a team that's never even been to the big dance? You're telling me they're contenders if they have to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? What are they going to do, lose once again? They've lost every single time. So I don't think the Bills are contenders because the roster is underwhelming, and it's very reliant on Josh Allen being superhuman and having to save the day, and we've seen that has not been enough to get them to a Super Bowl. So they're not in mine. But I have another AFC team in it, and it's a team that you got the helmet of that team right there.
Wow.
And it's the Indianapolis Colts.
Holy shit.
I think the Colts are contenders. I think they're a better team than the Buffalo Bills. They're a well-oiled machine. They have an elite run game, an elite offensive line, a flurry of good offensive weapons. Daniel Jones is playing his best football. And I think, people will point to the quarterback and say, well, they don't got the quarterback to do it. But they got the goddamn roster. And that's the thing. Sometimes you have a team that comes along and they have the roster to do it. We've seen teams before make it very deep in the playoffs, like the Jimmy Garoppolo-led 49ers. And they have an infrastructure, they have a great offensive mind, and they don't need the quarterback to do too much. The difference is that I think Daniel Jones is actually not being backpacked. I think Daniel Jones is actually playing his role, and he's not getting enough credit for what the Colts are doing. And then defensively, Laiatu Latu breaking out improves their pass rush. Right now, they're 8th in points allowed, but they're getting Charvarius Ward back. They're getting Jalen Jones back. They have Kenny Moore. They signed Cam Bynum in the offseason. They have a good linebacker in Zaire Franklin. If they make a trade for one pass rusher, we're looking at one of the most complete teams in football. Like, the Colts aren't just a one-player-led team like the Buffalo Bills are. The Colts are one of the most complete teams in all of football, and I think that's going to go a long way. Then in the NFC, I have a flurry of teams. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. It's the Green Bay Packers. It's the Detroit Lions, and it's the LA Rams. Those are the four. I can't put the Bucs in here. I can't put the Seahawks in here, although I really wanted to, and the Niners have way too many injuries. But those are the contenders in the NFL.
So, when I was writing out my list and thinking through all of it, I got to the Colts, and I said, this is probably the trickiest evaluation I think I've ever seen. Because everything that you have seen to this point screams that they are a Super Bowl contender. And then you think to yourself, but wait, they have Daniel Jones on their roster. And if anyone knows about this, it's you and I. Tom, we've watched.
Let's go. I made it.
Daniel,
I made it.
exactly.
Congrats,
we learned.
You make it when it's Daniel Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows about Daniel Jones. He don't know about Jack.
I don't know about the Darty.
If the problem is this. Last year we watched the Vikings with Sam Darnold week after week convince me till the end of the season that they were a Super Bowl contender, and then everything fell apart because Sam Darnold turned back into Sam Darnold come playoff time. I don't think that's going to happen with Daniel Jones. And I actually agree with you completely. I think that the Indianapolis Colts are a Super Bowl contender, and this was the week that I honestly was thinking about exactly that. I think there are two teams in the AFC, and those are the two. I agree. I kept the Bills off, too.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying it. I said it before the season. It was one of my hot takes. Daniel Jones makes a Baker Mayfield-type leap and makes himself into a starting quarterback again in the NFL. Daniel Jones is doing the thing. He's doing everything that he should have. He's playing the best football in his career. Jonathan Taylor is playing at an MVP level. Tyler Warren, they drafted a top 3 tight end in the first round, which is pretty amazing. He's already in that conversation to be the best. It's awesome. It's fun to watch.
You're a Colt fan. Let's just get that straight. It's
I
not the
might be
Jets.
turning into one. I mean,
I became one in 2012 when Andrew Luck got drafted.
I loved AR, actually. He got me into the Colts. Anthony Richardson pulled me
Guy
in.
hates football.
So where'd you
But-
get this helmet from right here?
So our boy, you should actually check this out because you're close. One of my friends opened this is Peyton Manning signing this.
Oh, really?
Eli signed
That's
this
tough.
one.
That's a Super Bowl
That's a
score.
Super Bowl.
Flip
Yeah,
that
it's from the
around,
Super
Sean.
Bowl.
One of my friends, he's big into sports cards, and he's like a part owner of a shop that just opened in Ottawa. It's called Trace and Chase. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful shop, bunch of
Closer to
memorabilia.
you guys, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely closer to you than it is to us. But he just opened up a shop. He had the grand opening like a month ago. Odell and Kat were there, so it was cool to meet those guys. But yeah, he hooked us up with a little deal on these because I'm doing some editing for him on the side. So he gave us a little discount on the memorabilia.
Oh,
We
that's
saw
tough.
these.
Yeah.
We were debating them for a little while.
Peyton like Peyton.
Debating Manning. Yeah, we were debating Manning at the wall for a little while on which ones to get, but then it just like clicked. It was like, let's just get Peyton and Eli. There's no better duo we could get for the middle of the table. But
No, I thought it was representing Daniel Jones to the Colts.
Exactly.
basically,
That's actually
Daniel
exactly
Jones'
why we
career
got it.
path.
That's what we're Daniel Jones' career path.
Okay. So the NFC, I'm in complete agreement. I think we're all in complete agreement in the NFC. Does anyone have any?
I have a little bit of hesitation
Okay.
about the Lions still, but
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll
The
get to
Lions are the
that.
most talented team in the conference. They're more talented than the Eagles. You were making the argument that you don't think the Eagles are by far and away more talented than everybody. The Lions are the next team that has just as much talent, if not more than them. You could question the secondary play,
Yep.
but they have Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. They have one of the best safety duos, if not the best safety duo in the league. They have an elite defensive line. They have a great offensive line. They have a number one wide receiver. They have elite running backs. It is the most talented team. We just don't trust them because of Jared Goff in a big moment. But if they had a quarterback that was trustworthy, if they had Matthew Stafford, there's no question everybody's picking them to win the whole thing.
you're
Yeah,
honestly
100%.
probably 1,000% right. I do have concerns about that secondary, though. I mean, Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed got hurt, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Are they out? What's their time? I know they're both out, but like, what's
I
their
think Arnold,
timetable?
I don't know. Don't quote me on this. I think he was like ready to go for this game.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. They don't even trust Terrion Arnold to be a good football player at this point. Like, I don't.
And calm down on my boy, man.
He's really not good.
He's gonna figure it out.
I hope so. I mean,
Y'all don't realize that last year he had the most man coverage snaps of any corner. He was a rookie. And that's why I wasn't a big fan of the Aaron Glenn hire by the Jets, because I didn't even think Aaron Glenn was a brilliant defensive coach.
Yeah.
The Lions defense has been bad for more years than has been good with Aaron Glenn. They had one great year. So, he puts his corners on islands, and just doing that to a rookie corner, man, I mean, they're gonna get beat. He got beat a lot, and he's doing it now because they're playing a similar style. I just think that the Lions are a place where they just don't take stress off of their corners, and that's a problem. And that's why any corner that's been there, we've seen, and they've been underwhelming. Like even Carlton Davis had some like good moments, but we saw a lot of moments where he got burned too. So I just feel like they have a defensive infrastructure and identity that is very susceptible to corners getting beat consistently, and it's hard to develop an environment like that when you're getting thrown to the fire so early.
nah, it's definitely a fair take on him. But I mean, like, that defensive system is in place.
Yeah,
like,
in his role, he's not good in that role.
Yes.
for sure.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, Bama's completely different in terms of a defensive system than that. So you go from that to that, it's tough. But that's still the thing. Like, granted, I will say this: Aiden Hutchinson coming back and being as great as he is, as early as this, is pretty crazy to me. Super, super dope to see that. But I don't know. Like, I don't know what it is with the Lions, but I have this hesitation. I think it might just be the Jared Goff situation, but I just have a hesitation.
Well, they're violating the Bucs right now.
Yeah, no,
They
they
just
are.
got
are,
a
yeah.
turnover. They
They
could be
are.
up 21-0 by the end of half.
That's why I said like I was gonna throw the Bucks in there, but if they lose this bad, I mean Bucks are the king of comebacks, so
I
we'll
think
see.
we
what
all
happens,
knew that the
but-
Bucks were fake ass Super Bowl contenders, though. Like, I don't think that
They're
was
dark
Oh,
horse
man.
contenders. They can make it
Sure.
frisky. They get healthy. They're like Seattle. If Seattle, the offensive line is better than we expect, and
Yes.
the defense gets back to being elite, You know, the Seahawks, they're just as good as a team like the Bucs. The Seahawks have a top 6 offense. They have a top defense. If they're healthy, they're dark horse contenders too. But, you know, they have holes like the Bucs on the roster that are pretty obvious and glaring. But the Lions are the one team that I feel like if you're stacking them up to the Eagles, they match up talent for talent. They just don't have the trustworthy factor to them. But just looking at the names on paper, they're just as good.
Yeah, it's tough with the Lions because the reason I probably leave them right outside is the same reason I leave the Colts right outside.
Agreed.
My famous take is that you need a quarterback playing at a top 5 level to win a Super Bowl. And sure, you can make a case Jared Goff is playing at a top 5 level right now. You can make the case Daniel Jones is playing at a top 5 level right now, honestly. But come playoff time, when the going gets tough, I know Jared Goff's going to shrink. I've seen it time and time again in the big moments. And Daniel Jones, it's just, maybe it's me being lazy. And I honestly, this is word for word, bar for bar what I said last year about maybe it's me being lazy in my analysis. But I didn't trust Sam Darnold, and I was not getting fooled by that bullshit, honestly. That's all it was. It's Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is not a Super Bowl quarterback. And I know you guys were with me for a long, long time.
Yep.
And then right there at the end, you guys folded and said that the Vikings were Super Bowl contenders for whatever reason.
Everything screamed that.
Right, and you guys folded. And then we saw Sam Darnold, when he needed to step up, absolutely fold and absolutely choke. I've seen Daniel Jones too many times not live up to the moment and not be the guy. And Joel, you're a Chiefs guy.
He has a playoff game, though.
He has one.
That's what I was about to say. As fans, we literally watched that man go for 300
I know that.
and 3 duds
But
against
that's
the
the
Vikings.
most fraudulent playoff win on anyone's resume that there will ever be.
But you could say that all you want,
That
regardless.
Vikings defense was terrible.
In the biggest moment of Daniel Jones' career, and we could even say this, he was surrounded by an incompetent-ass organization that didn't put him in a functional position. So in the biggest moment in his career, he came up big.
But here's what's the defense in the AFC that you trust Daniel Jones and the Colts offense to play bad against?
Spags.
That's really the only one.
the
But like,
Chiefs.
right,
That's
but
it.
exactly, though.
You gotta
That's
go
my
through the
point.
Chiefs,
Like,
yeah.
if we're going to call... You're a Chiefs guy, Joel. You're a Patrick Mahomes
so
guy.
you're saying that you're not a contender unless you can knock off the Chiefs.
I mean,
That's basically
what
your definition.
In the AFC, I think we all just sat up here and
runs
agreed the
through
AFC
the
runs
Chiefs.
through the Chiefs. They're the clear favorite to make the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. They're going to have to go through the Chiefs.
I didn't like your Sam Darnold disrespect. I didn't like that. Because
No, he's playing great this year.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, say what you want to say about him, but this year, number 1 in EPA per play. He's playing at an MVP level. Seattle's offense has been the better part of what they've been doing. And just he has one of the highest completion percentages in the NFL, while also having one of the highest
he has the
average
highest
depth,
ADOT.
of
he
target.
Yeah.
He's slinging the ball. He's been extremely accurate. I don't think that enough has been made about KOC and the Vikings offensive line completely falling apart at the end of the season as much as been made about Sam Darnold. The Lions game, I will give you that. I think Sam could have played better. The Rams game, no chance. He had no chance. The offensive line got obliterated. The play calling, they were calling deep and intermediate shots because KOC's an aggressive head coach, and there was just nothing that opened up, and there was no time. And I thought Darnold got scapegoated, and that was the reason that they used to move on from him. And I don't care if it's early. I think they made a massive mistake. I think they made a mistake letting Sam go because now you're with Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy, and I think J.J. McCarthy's ceiling is a game manager. I don't think he's special. Sam Darnold at least was flashing special things, and you knew that if he toned back the turnovers, this is a great quarterback, and that's what he's done this year. So I think that in Seattle, he's going to have a revival, and he's already having one. But I think that he's going to prove himself to be a big game quarterback. And we saw him in college win a Rose Bowl. We know that he has that clutch gene.
What was that, 10 years ago?
Hey,
Tom was wearing diapers when Sam Darnold won the Rose Bowl.
I was wearing.
I see the contract the Seahawks got Darnold on. He's making $13 million this year. Next year, I think it's 30-something million. They're going to be able to build out the roster around him in a way that quarterbacks that are in the top 10, you're not able to build a roster around them. So I think Seattle, he's going to have some big playoff moments in Seattle. I feel it in my veins.
What Seattle's front office has been able to do these past couple years, the way they moved on from Russ and took a chance on Geno and built a team around Geno that had a chance to be successful and saw Geno had the potential to be a successful quarterback. And then, I mean, I sat up here and said they made a massive mistake going after Sam Darnold and letting Geno walk out that door. They saw it right, and I guess that's why they get paid to be in those seats, and we sit in these green chairs in Matt's basement. But, like, what a job by that front office to see that.
Absolutely.
I don't know what they saw, because Geno, I thought, played really well last year given the situation he was in. But they saw something that it was like, all right, we're moving on from Geno and we're going to bring in Sam Darnold, and they made the right choice. Like, what a job by that front office, honestly.
It's a lot of guys, too. Like, you mentioned Leonard Williams before. They got Julian Love from us, too, and he became a stud over there. Like, so,
No,
yeah,
their front office is they've put on a masterclass these past few
They got
years.
an eye for
Julian
talent.
Love he's nice.
Yeah.
He's a dog,
Yeah.
bro.
But in terms of, I just, like, I'm very strict on my contender terminology. You have to be able to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. I think anyone who says there's any other team that can come out of the AFC and win the Super Bowl that's not the Chiefs, I think you're being a fool, honestly. I think there's just no, Patrick Mahomes went to the Super Bowl the past 3 years, and like we just sat up here and said, he's playing his best ball right now, and it's Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't lose. He doesn't lose when the going gets tough. Like, in a close game and a gotta-have-it situation, there's no one you're going to trust more.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, there's no one you're going to trust more. Steve Spagnuolo, there's no one you're going to trust more. Like, when it comes to playoff football, there's no one in the AFC that could beat this team. If Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen can't do it, there's no reason for me to believe that Daniel Jones could do it. There's just not.
Yeah, I get the logic. I feel like we haven't seen this version of Daniel Jones yet. Like, this is a new thing.
I just feel
It
like
is.
this is the most vulnerable the Chiefs defense has been. They are lackadaisical in terms of the rankings, stopping the run.
Yep.
Even though whenever they go up against a quality opponent, I feel like they neutralize it for the most part.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs defense has no pass rush whatsoever. It's just Chris Jones. And Chris Jones has taken a little bit of a step back this year, but their defense is the most vulnerable it's been in a while. Like, I understand that, Mahomes is obviously you got to go toe-to-toe with him, but I also believe that the Colts could do a lot of things to just manipulate the Chiefs defense. And, I would take the Chiefs in a game like that, but I also believe it'd be a high-scoring affair. And I don't think that the Colts would disappoint in a situation like that. Like, their offense is the number one offense in the league right now. They are steamrolling teams. Respectable Chargers defense, they just completely steamrolled them. Like, they steamrolled the Broncos defense too. There's not been a defense that has been able to stop what the Colts offense has been doing, and that's because they can attack every area of the field. They have Alec Pierce as a vertical deep threat. They have Josh Downs and Michael Pittman to work those quick and intermediate areas. They have an elite run game. They make you cover the entire field of grass, and I feel like that's what's so tough to stop about them.
Yeah, I mean, you also have the most unstoppable player in football, Tyler Warren. Just a
Apparently.
good old
And then
football player.
The other
honestly.
most unstoppable player in football,
Jonathan Taylor. Like,
It's just tough, though, because it's like, yes, the Chiefs' defense through 7 weeks looks like more suspect than they have in the past, but I've seen it year after year after year. Spags with these defenses, they just get better as the years go on, as the year goes on, and somehow, some way, some pass rusher or some linebacker, whoever it is, come playoff time, someone who we probably don't even know their name right now is going to make an impact for them come playoff time, and we'll be looking at them differently. I just think Spags, I mean, talk about a big game quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. You want to talk about a big game coordinator, it's Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, I agree that by every measurable metric, the Colts are Super Bowl contenders. It's similar to the Vikings last year. I'm with you, though, and I feel like we saw the Chiefs kind of get this treatment with the Niners, too, where they were just like in the Super Bowl, where they were just like this overwhelming talent. And granted, Jimmy Garoppolo was not playing at anywhere near the level that Daniel Jones was, but I just kind of agree. I just think if I'm trusting a guy to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, it's not Daniel Jones, man. I know it might be lazy. I completely agree with you, but that's where I'm at.
this is a new Daniel Jones, man. This is a new Daniel Jones.
I'm
man.
surprised you support him.
I love him. I have never once hated Daniel Jones. All right, let me rephrase that.
No, you
I
hated him
hated
more when he
Daniel
was on your
Jones
team,
when he was on
actually.
my team. I hated Daniel Jones when he was on my team, yes. But I have no ill will towards the guy because he didn't do anything to ruin our franchise. It wasn't him that decided to be in the position that he got thrown into. That's not his fault. So him going to a better situation and getting an opportunity to actually showcase the talent that I thought was there in the first place that we ruined on him, I'm happy about that. I'm happy for the guy. So yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna back him and I'm gonna hope to God that he could pull some crazy stuff off like this. But my biggest issue with the Colts isn't even the Daniel Jones situation. It's in the same vein of what you just said about the Chiefs. I do worry about their pass rush. It's inconsistent, and that's the problem. And DeForest Buckner's great on the interior. Leatu Latu is having a breakout year, but I don't trust that pass rush to be great.
The secondary is not great either.
It's
The defense as a whole
Dealing
is
with
kind of
so many guys
yes,
banged
yeah,
up.
that's
I
the
will
thing.
give him that.
Secondary, I think, is good. I think the secondary is very good. I think
Is
the
it very
problem-
good?
Yes. I think
When
You
they're
get
fully
Charvarius
healthy, they
Ward.
have a really
They're
good
gonna be
unit.
solid.
Yeah.
Kenny Moore too. Yeah.
I mean, I understand people like apologizing for Daniel Jones and like the Giants stuff, but he was just whack on the Giants.
bro,
And
our
I think
team
that
was so
that is,
bad,
and I
dude.
understand that the team wasn't that good, but I mean, you draft a guy top 10, you're supposed to uplift the situation, and he got outplayed by Tyrod Taylor in similar circumstances. Like, I think it's okay to admit a guy improved by being under KOC and learning what they did, being a more aggressive quarterback, and then going to the Colts and having a perfect offensive infrastructure. Like, his pressure to sack ratio this year is the second best in the NFL.
Yep.
He's not taking sacks. He has a 2% sack rate. He's been balling under pressure. Those are all things that didn't happen in New York.
Nope.
And I think that the situation is a contributor, but I also think that Daniel Jones just got better. Like, I don't think that, you should be regretting the decision to let him walk because he was whack.
It's kind of
He was
crazy he even
generally
got 6
whack.
years.
I don't regret the decision to let him walk whatsoever. I think that was the right decision. That's why when he was on my team, I hated him. That wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
My thing is the
but-
fact that I saw his talent his rookie year when he came in to become the starter, and he was actually bowling out and then
Yes.
regressed from that point forward.
Like, it'd be different if the Giants had a play caller that was not good. Like, if Brian Dable was just an incompetent coach. But we've seen Jackson Dart have success right now with the situation that was just as bad as what Daniel Jones dealt with. They didn't have no Saquon, had Andrew Thomas and nothing else, had worse receivers. Like, we're seeing Jackson Dart play somewhat well. It kind of like, I think a situation where a team actually maybe pulled the plug too early was probably the Jets with Darnold, because they had the second overall pick and they could have traded back. And if you do trade back, you could add more talent to the team, because the team wasn't just lacking a quarterback at that point in time. It was lacking like everything. And Darnold was getting coached by Adam Gase. So like, I feel like that was genuinely terrible. Like with the Giants, I am sympathetic to the situation that he dealt with, but I also saw quarterbacks go in there and play better than him. So to me, I just feel like it's good that he's playing well in Indianapolis, but I don't think it's an indictment on the Giants and why they couldn't get the best out of him, because he just wasn't his best self there either.
While, yes, I agree with you, he also, through the first 4 seasons of his career, dealt with constant turnover at head coach, and one of his head coaches was Joe Judge. Like, this is, like, yes, I understand that later in his career, Brian Dable came in, and then he has his best season and makes the playoffs and wins a playoff game, but prior to that, we ruined the guy already. Like, that had been done and over with. He was never going to succeed for long term in New York. So,
I mean,
that
he
just
did
wasn't going to
succeed
happen.
and win a
For
playoff
long
game
term is
and
what
get
I'm saying.
paid, and then got worse.
For long term.
Did it
But
to
exactly,
himself.
again, coaching, like I didn't think it was, I don't blame Danny for everything.
Like, nah, I wouldn't blame him either. But like, paying Daniel Jones is the reason why they moved on from McKinney. They moved on from Saquon Barkley. You know, Leonard Williams got traded, I think, in the offseason. No, during the season, the previous year.
Yep.
So like, they had to make room to re-sign Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones on a 1-year, $15 million deal is much different than Daniel Jones on a 2-year, $80 million deal.
Right.
Like, it's much different. Like, if the Colts have to pay Daniel Jones after this season and the roster regresses around him, we'll see how he starts to look. But like, if you plug in a guy into a situation that is awesome and he's not getting paid nothing, you're going to see all this talent around him and he's going to play really well. But that's not the situation the Giants were in. The Giants were asking him to be an uplifter, and to be the offense, and he couldn't be that, and it is what it is. And now you have a rookie quarterback who's playing somewhat well, who's giving the fans
Uplifting.
life. Like there's no question that Jackson Dart right now looks way better than Daniel Jones did his last 2 years in New York. Post 2022, what Jackson Dart is even doing right now is better than anything Daniel Jones was
Be
doing with
honest
the
with
Giants.
you, it's better than 2022 also. But it's the best I've seen since rookie Daniel Jones, to be quite honest. So,
Wow.
yeah.
What a bar.
But
Dart.
yeah, for real, honestly. Absolute dart. He's the man. I can't wait as a Giant fan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to sell high right now in Dynasty.
Oh, you have him?
Oh, I have
What
him.
do we?
Yeah, everybody kept
Dolphins.
letting him fall, so I drafted him because people didn't think Dart was going to be good.
Right.
So I was sitting there in the third round, early third round, like, why wouldn't I take a
Is it
quarterback?
a single quarterback league?
Double, 2 quarterbacks.
Bro, you got to keep him.
Yeah. Right now, my quarterbacks are Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield,
Jeez.
All right.
Sam Darnold,
Bro, what the hell?
and I have Jackson Dart.
In a 1 QB or 2 QB?
2 QB league.
Wow.
I might
You
sell high on
definitely
Danny.
could sell high.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say that, but nobody really wants Danny.
That's a good
Nobody,
point.
like-
You literally experienced this, yes.
So I have Danny in my dynasty league, in our sweaty dynasty league, and there's teams with 0 quarterbacks that don't even want Danny from me right now.
Yeah. Like right now, I'm trying to get some fab to throw at Oronde Gatson in the waiver wire.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
He's a free agent. Wow.
Yeah, he is. The thing is,
That's
bro,
how sweaty our league is.
I had him first. Like, beginning of the offseason, I had Oronde Gatson on my roster because I always believed in him. Like, I have offseason tweets, like, I think he's going to be a stud. Then I dropped him because I needed a roster spot. And John picked him up, and then John dropped him for Mason Taylor. And now he's a free agent. He's on the waiver wire, and my tight ends are Kincaid, Colson Loveland, and that's it. So,
I would throw hella fab.
yeah, I only have $35 though. So like right now, I'm trying to like trade one of my like, yo, you want Calvin Austin for 35? Like, yeah, I'm trying to make one of those trades. Like, yo, do you want my weakest receiver link for like 50 fab? Because whatever I get back in fab, I'm throwing everything at him.
The problem is once you start talking about can I get Fab back, they start looking at the waiver
Yeah.
wire like, who the fuck does he want? And then
Yeah.
you're cooked. You're
Like
cooked.
for me, I'd already told myself like he's probably going to be the only waiver wire pickup of the season for me that is like meaningful long term. So I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at him. I'm going to do whatever I can. And somebody's offering me all of his fab for Jackson Dart. And I'm just like, nah, bro.
Nah,
Like,
you can't
No,
get rid of
no,
that.
Dart,
can't get
I
rid of
need,
Dart for
I
just
need
Fab.
something for
You got
Dart.
to get a first plus, if I'm being honest, in a super flex league at
Yeah.
this point for Dart, bro.
Yeah.
I have Gadsden in one of my leagues. I have Gadsden, I have Jake Ferguson, and I have Harold Fannin.
Yeah, it's
I'm looking good.
Well,
That's
that
tough.
is-
You need a tight end, bro?
Where?
In Dynasty. Our Dynasty.
Nah.
Oh,
Juwan
You're good,
Johnson,
bro?
The
TJ
Training Wheels
Hawkinson, I'm
dynasty?
straight.
Training Wheels Dynasty.
Training
You
Wheels.
won this
Training
week?
Dynasty
Chicken
deadass.
Conquer. I did. I put up 180 this week.
Proud of you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Back on track.
I'm back. Yeah.
There you go.
Get out that dynasty and join the real one, bro.
He would
Join the
never.
Sweat dynasty.
He would never.
Can't.
He's
He can't
scared.
handle it.
we've
He's
offered
scared
him
to
a
play
spot
with the big
twice.
boys.
I'm not gonna take over someone else's shitty team that quit and left.
Yeah, but we
Why would
make
I
the
do
first
that?
year free for you, bro.
Doesn't do it for me. Why would I not want my own team?
Your own team's doing real good.
Hey, we're on the come up, all right? We're on the come- I got Rasheed Rice back. We're good. We're good, bro.
So, we're also going to be discussing today who is in the worst spot right now: the New York Jets or the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins sitting at 1-6, or the Jets sitting at 0-7. Both futures look bleak. Neither look good. I'm going to argue that the Dolphins are in the worst spot just because the Jets have already ripped the Band-Aid off and gotten rid of their coach and are on to a new head coach. And
Yeah, they might have to get rid of that guy too, though.
and are already in a position to take a quarterback, whereas the Dolphins are wrapped up in the Tua money. So that's where I'm at with that.
So I'll counter that by yes. I think the Jets definitely have a better young core. That young offensive line is really good, has real potential. Sauce Gardner, disappointing to many, but he's still
He's actually been good this season.
right. He's still a good,
He
very
was
good,
really
corner.
good last year. It's
Yeah.
just PR, bro.
He is
100%.
terrible
just
PR.
100%.
He has
I have a
bad
stat
PR
for
team,
you.
bro.
And Garrett Wilson's still a stud, but the Jets are in position to take a quarterback. That's awesome. they are going to mess that decision up. That's what they do historically. They did it with Zach Wilson. Now Sam Darnold's a stud, but they obviously, they had Adam Gase there, like you mentioned before, and they couldn't develop him. The Jets have had 9 coaches and 5 GMs since the year 2000. There's just so much organizational turnover and mistakes made at the high levels that I don't see how you can trust them to make the right decisions, even if they're in position to make them. Now, the Aaron Rodgers thing, like, you go for that 10 times out of 10. I won't argue that. So they did the right thing there. And then it just fell apart, and they didn't really move off of that very well either. So
yeah, but it's not like history really favors the Dolphins either. Like, they also haven't won a playoff game since the 90s.
That's true, yeah.
It's the Jets have won a playoff game more recently than the Dolphins, surprisingly enough. But that is pretty crazy. They're just both really bad. It's just like 100%. A crazy argument. Like,
doesn't that
like
suck?
This is a no-brainer if it was a team that wasn't called the Jets. I think that the only reason you're thinking about it is because it's the Jets. Yes. But like situationally, the Jets have their own picks. They're gonna have a higher pick. They have a better offensive line. They have a better defensive infrastructure. They have a star corner. They have a star defensive lineman. The Dolphins have dropped off in every area of their team.
Yep.
The defensive line has dropped off. The cornerback room has dropped off. The quarterback has dropped off. Like right now, what they have is a star running back. That's what they have. That's all they have.
That gets teams
and
far.
then Jalen Waddle. That's it.
He's gone.
What I was going to
this
say.
week. He's gone, brother.
So they really just have a star running back, and
that's their best building block. They can be in sell
mode. Exactly. You move on from 2 after this year, they're going to eat a lot of dead cap. It's basically going to be a vacant year for them where they're not going to try to compete at all. So we're looking at the Dolphins maybe being in position to do something 2 seasons from now. But when I look at the Jets and how awful Aaron Glenn has been, they're not going to fire him after this year. You're probably going to draft a quarterback. Aaron Glenn's going to draft his quarterback. He's going to get fired after next year.
Yep.
You're going to bring a new coach in there. So, like, it just feels like a repeated cycle with them. I've seen Sam Darnold, Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith, Zach Wilson all get drafted to the Jets. Bryce Petty, if we want to go back, Christian Hackenberg. I mean, we could name a lot of quarterbacks. But really the ones that we expected to actually do something. They haven't done anything for the team. And it's been moments, but it hasn't been anything significant. At least for the Dolphins, I think Tua's whack. But he was good for them at least for a couple seasons.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill, he was solid in Miami. He wasn't terrible in Miami. Like, they've definitely had better quarterback play for even as bad as a franchise they've been. They just put themselves in better positions to be competitive.
Yeah, it's tough because it's like, the Dolphins are easily in a worse spot because they're tied up with all this money with Tua, but Dolphins are going to clean house. Like, Tua, even if they give him another year just because contractually, like, it probably makes more sense to hold on to him for another year, even if he's the worst ever, because you could get out of it and it make more sense after next year. But they're going to clean house. McDaniel will be gone after this year. Tua will be gone after next year. Dolphins are going to clean house, hopefully bring some new guys in, bring some life. You look at the Jets and it's like, they just cleaned house. They have these young guys. It's looking up. But like you mentioned, Aaron Glenn has been so bad thus far that they're going to have to do it all over again. He's not the head coach of the future. They're going to draft a quarterback this year. It's going to look just as terrible next year. And we're going to say, damn, the Jets got to do it all over again.
Because those young guys aren't going to be young guys for long.
Right.
Like, we're talking about 2 seasons ago, they were young guys when Aaron Rodgers came to the team. Mm-hmm. Young Breece Hall, young Garrett Wilson. Now we're stepping into Breece Hall maybe not being on the team because he's going to want a second contract. Where Garrett Wilson, by the time this quarterback that whoever they draft develops, it's going to be 27 years old. We're talking about they're vets now. They're all the young guys, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, they're going to be vets by the time that this young quarterback even like maybe breaks out into something. So all this young talent that was there isn't even young anymore. They have to basically continue to just the cycle of just like rebuilding and restoring what they have.
Yeah, they went all in on the Aaron Rodgers experience. And listen, I'm glad they did it. I would have been really upset if they went half-assed and they went and did like a Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr or whatever else was out there at the time. Like, I would have been really disappointed. Yeah. I'm glad they they did it. I still stand by. We'll never know that if his Achilles didn't pop, what could have been. Who knows? Because the defense was still what it was at the time.
Yeah.
Like that team still got 7 wins with Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle at quarterback. Like
Right.
that was a 7-win team. That's insane. Imagine what would have happened if we had a healthy Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, the argument's still like they're still the Jets.
It
still the Jets.
sucks because, like, at this point, we're really just arguing organizational incompetence between two teams that are organizationally incompetent. And I mean, the Dolphins, at the very least, have had some modicum of success, but they haven't had consistent success at any point in their.
Even in their success, they haven't won a playoff game.
So
Right.
exactly, like the Dolphins are buoyed by the fact that they have one team that went perfect in 17 games in 80 something was it, or 70 something,
72?
whatever. Regardless, does not matter. I think you're in such a tough spot because of the Tua money, and theoretically, the Jets hired a coach thinking that he could be the right coach. To this point, he's definitely not the right coach. But let's hope for their sake that he is the right coach, because then I guess you go and draft a quarterback and that guy could be the guy. So I do think the Dolphins are in a worse spot. It's a full reset, and I'm not sure I fully trust whoever they hire, to be quite honest. So
You know what the saving grace is for the Dolphins? I was talking to our good friend Jason about this earlier today, actually. You know Geno Smith?
Yeah,
Used to play for the Jets.
I'm familiar.
Turned his career around when he left the Jets. You know Sam Darnold? You love Sam Darnold. Turned his career around when he got off the Jets.
It's true.
You know who the Dolphins have?
Zach Wilson.
Zach motherfucking Wilson.
Okay, he got benched from his bench
Zach
spot this
Wilson.
week. Let's not kid
He
Bro.
ourselves.
got benched from his bench
It's a-
spot.
Bro,
It's all a mind
got
game.
fired on his
It's
day
all a
off.
mind
it's all a
trick.
mind game, yeah.
It's all a mind game to get him fired up.
That's
Zach
fucking
Wilson, the
sucks.
next Jets reclamation project on the Dolphins in your own division. You have to see him twice a year.
Chris, let's not be silly, bro. What are we doing? Zach Wilson.
I guess the answer is the Dolphins if we're relying on Zach Wilson to make
Yeah,
a
exactly.
resurgence.
It's nobody. They actually
History
might
says
both be
that
screwed.
history says Zach Wilson's gonna turn it
well,
around.
no, recent history says that Zach Wilson could turn it around.
Yeah, because Mark Sanchez didn't do anything. Chad Pennington actually went to Miami and won comeback player of the year, though.
There you go.
Oh,
Cook.
God. If we're talking about
Zach's
Zach
no
Wilson
Chad,
being
though.
Chad Pennington, then they're fucked.
Yeah, no, I
Royals.
think Zach he's cooked. He's just not good.
No, he's,
No,
probably
he's been
cooked.
He's really
probably
bad.
cooked.
Nah, he's been
probably
cooked.
He's very
He's
good.
really bad at football.
But no,
except
I
for
think the answer is just Miami because they. I mean, who knows, bro? Right now, where we stand, the Jets got the first pick.
Right.
But if history has shown anything, they're gonna win some dumbass game at the end of the year. They're gonna put themselves out of the first pick. They're gonna get the second or the third, and then one of these teams, like the Saints or the Dolphins, are gonna get the first overall pick, or the Titans, and the Titans probably would trade back and get more assets. But the Dolphins get the first pick and they'll draft their quarterback, and the Jets will be stuck drafting the second best guy in the class. And even then,
That'd be poetic.
yeah, I
It
mean,
really would.
this quarterback class, I like some of the guys. Like I like Fernando Mendoza, I like Dante Moore, I like Simpson, but
I like Mateer.
there really isn't. Yeah, Mateer's good too, but there really isn't a standout. There isn't a
Right.
guy that you think you're going to draft and it's going to change around your organization.
Yep.
So I think that this is not even the best year to have the first overall pick.
So crazy because that's not at all how we were talking about this draft class coming in. Not in the slightest. Like, we all looked at Arch Manning, who potentially would have came out and been like, yo, that's the guy that's going to change the franchise.
Was
Maybe
he
you
definitely
didn't.
not coming out now?
Well, he's definitely not coming out now. Can guarantee you that. That ain't happening. But, like, Lenore Sellers, Drew Auer, these were supposed to be guys that were supposed to be looked at as top 5 picks in this draft. And I guess none of the three you look at this point and say they're a top 3 pick in this class.
Oh, absolutely not.
So it's crazy. It's just wild how things
They're
turn
like
around
barely
so
first
quick.
rounders.
Yeah,
Honestly, if
Yeah.
draft was today, they're barely first rounders.
it's wild.
Wow.
It's a day to day. It's what have you done for me lately? So
So we're all Dolphins are in the worst spot.
It's tough because I agree. Like the Dolphins on paper, 100%, but the Jets are the Jets, and like that factors
That
in. But
carries
the
weight.
Dolphins are also not.
I agree with the Glenn's not the guy thing. I mean, we
Sure.
went there on Sunday, and I debated multiple people and said Aaron Glenn should be a one and done head coach. I mean,
Yeah.
I just think he's been awful. He can't manage a game. He can't get the guys to buy into a system. Like it's like you can't win one game. You're in how many one possession games and you can't
But
pull
if-
one out. Like
if you feel that way, then it's the Jets. It has to be.
Well, that's why I'm talking it out right now.
You know what was crazy
I
on
agree.
Sunday? Before half, Tyrod came in when Fields was hurt, and the Jets had the ball, and they were driving a little bit. They were at like the Panthers 40, and then Tyrod took a sack on second down. There was time left, and the Jets took like a 10-yard sack. The Jets are at midfield in at that point a 10-3 game.
Yeah.
A 10-3 game going into halftime, and they just let the clock run out.
No,
They don't even.
Fields was still in the game.
Fields was back in at that point. I
Yeah.
thought that was the end.
Fields finished
whoever
the half.
was in the game. They don't even call a timeout to even try a Hail Mary. And Glenn just gave up. He said,
Yep.
"Fuck it, let's go into halftime." You're at midfield. You have a timeout. What do you?
Same thing
0-7.
as last week.
What are you saving the
He-
timeout for next week?
He
Like,
doesn't even trust his quarterback
He doesn't. Not in the
to
slightest.
throw the Hail Mary, which I don't blame him. Justin Fields probably take another sack or something.
He'd fumble it, and it'd get ran back for 6.
I mean, like the Hail Mary. You're probably not converting the Hail Mary, but like, you
called
don't
the
even
Hail
call a
Mary.
timeout and try the Hail Mary. Like,
It's just, bro, they're just a team that continues to hire defensive coaches. I think that's the issue. Like, at least Miami went out on a limb and was like, Mike McDaniel, we're gonna hire him, and he gave them some really good years. Like, I don't even think they need to move on from Mike McDaniel. I just think that Tua needs to freaking go. I think
don't know if
Tua's
Mike
whack.
I think
is the guy.
McDaniel is a good
they
OC.
both need to go.
Yeah.
I think
both need to go.
I understand how you might feel like you have to clean house now, but Mike McDaniel is gonna be an OC somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
He's gonna have a lot of success. He's gonna get another head coaching opportunity, and he's gonna. His biggest downfall as a Dolphins head coach is that he put his trust in Tua. That's what it was. It wasn't anything else. It was the fact that this was the guy he attached himself to the hip, and his success was his success, and his failure was his failure as well. But if they decided to move on from Tua and kept the talent they had and just restarted with a quarterback, I feel like they'd be in a much better position right now.
I don't think McDaniel is a head coach because I feel like it takes some sort of presence and demeanor to be an NFL head coach that he severely lacks. Like, severely lacks that. And I think he's a phenomenal OC, and he will end up somewhere and be great as an OC, and that probably will get him a head coaching job. But I don't see him as a head coach by any means. I think he's just an amazing play caller in the NFL. That's where I stand.
It's tough with him too because Chris Greer basically gave him and Tua no chance to succeed. Because you look at 2023, you had this two-headed monster in the backfield with HN and Mostert, and you had one of the better run games in the NFL. And then the following year, those guys deal with injuries, but also the offensive line takes a massive step back, and it's just like they had no chance to succeed because they haven't had any semblance of a run game in the past 2 years. Like, HN's great, but he's not that guy who you're constructing an entire run game around. So it's like
I saw
both of them, McDaniel and Tua, had no chance to succeed these past 2 years. Although Tua deserves all the blame for being fucking ass. Like, he definitely fucking sucks, but that he had no chance to succeed.
Like, I saw last season what Mike McDaniel did with the Dolphins offense. Basically turned it into like a check down offense, just swing passes. Just really didn't put any pressure on Tua to make any big time throw whatsoever. And they were top 5 in efficiency.
And then you
like-
fucking trade that guy who the offense was constructed around in Jonnu Smith.
And Jonnu Smith.
The only Pro Bowler on the team. You fucking trade him away. It makes no sense.
So like I look at the
And
I look at the fact that he's been able to have successful offenses with, like, I think a bad quarterback. I just don't think he's the issue. Like, I know they're going to move on from both of them, and I think they should move on from Chris Greer. All three
Yes.
of them need to be gone.
Yeah.
But like, I really don't believe that Mike McDaniel is a bad coach. I think he just attached himself to a bad quarterback. And when you don't have any playoff success, you don't get any leeway, because you look at Sean McVay. Sean McVay was able to dictate his career and Jared Goff's career about shipping him out to the Rams and getting Stafford. He was able to look at a quarterback and say, this guy's holding us back. We're going to move on from him and bring in somebody else and then go forward from there. Mike McDaniel's not getting that opportunity because, Sean McVay went to a Super Bowl and he didn't win it, but he was damn close, and it was clear Jared Goff was a problem. So the fact that McVay got that opportunity, and I think McDaniel's not going to get the opportunity to get a new quarterback in there, that's what's going to get him fired. But ultimately, I do think the quarterback was the biggest issue and is the biggest issue. In every big-time game, it's always been Tua playing bad. It's never been like, oh man, a play call and there's nothing there. It's really just been Tua is just like not playing good. And when he plays against a good defense, this is kind of what happens. And then McDaniel gets the blame for his record against these teams, but then you see they steamroll everybody else. But this year's been a disaster. It hasn't mattered who they've played. They've been awful.
Yeah.
He'll head somewhere and be a great offensive coordinator.
He's young enough that he will get another head coaching opportunity down the line.
Yep.
It's tough too, because like what you mentioned about a head coach having to have a specific demeanor and personality, that's amplified in Miami. That's the problem, because you need it's Miami. You know what I'm saying? These guys, I mean, Tua throwing everyone under the bus last week about guys showing up late to meetings and stuff, which is unacceptable to throw your guys under the bus. But that's a whole other thing.
If I was still a Jets fan and Mike McDaniel got fired, I would, if I was the owner of the Jets and I made the decision, I'll fire Aaron Glenn. I'll drive McDaniel to the airport, pick him up, and I'll sign him. Like, that is the type of coach
The last time we hired a Miami guy, bro. Come on.
But he's not Adam Gase, bro. He is not Adam Gase. I promise you he's not Adam Gase.
I mean, yeah, we've seen successful coaching seasons with him, but, like, again, I think you need a whole-ass, like, culture shift with New York, but a guy that has a strong demeanor that's an offensive head coach. That's harder to find nowadays, but like
what is that?
I hate to say it, the guy might have just went to Chicago. Like, he might have just gone to Chicago.
He was never
Ben
taking
Johnson
a
was
Jets
a
job.
home run. He was a home run.
Ben Johnson was a fucking
That was a layup.
wasn't
for
even
the
a home run.
Chicago
He was a
though.
grand slam.
Yeah,
That dude is an offensive guy that also has the demeanor necessary to be a head coach. And it screams that in interviews.
He just was never not going to take that job, though. I mean,
agreed.
you got Caleb Williams
like
and Roma Dunze, both young ass. Like, you were never going to not go there if you're Ben Johnson.
It's just, bro, when you attach yourself to the hip of a quarterback that's pretty underwhelming, then everything that happens with that quarterback is tied back to you. Like, we have people seriously questioning if Sean Payne is good because of how Bo Nix is running that offense. And instead of questioning the quarterback, you start questioning the play caller because you're like, oh, like, there's no way my unproven quarterback is to fault. It has to be the Super Bowl champion who's had success elsewhere.
he had Drew Brees.
Yes, he did have Drew Brees. But it's like everything that Sean Payne does, like, that's at least attached to Bo Nix, is going to reflect back on him. Like, and that's the big difference in basically who you attach yourself to. You know, Ben Johnson said, hey, listen, if I fail as a head coach, it's not because I chose to believe in a mediocre quarterback. It's because I chose to believe in Caleb Williams, who is an exceptional talent and I think can become one of those guys. He didn't go and take a job where there was a quarterback that you were questioning.
Yeah.
And with Aaron Glenn, you know, what's going to be his downfall as a head coach is that he went to a place that has no quarterback, and he banked on Justin Fields. And now the lack of success of Fields is reflecting poorly on him. So it just all matters based on who you bank on to be your quarterback. And that's why I feel like Mike McDaniel's downfall is who he banked on.
You think he's banking on Justin Fields? I think Justin Fields was always a bridge quarterback.
They gave him a 2-year deal.
Yeah, but he
I
was
think the
always
second year's an option.
Yeah.
he was always the bridge. Like, he was never gonna be
A bridge to what, fall?
a bridge. The next
Bro,
quarterback they
the
draft.
bridge has broken planks. It's done. He's never been good.
The bridge didn't make it to halfway.
Like, bro, I swear, I would have just traded for Kirk Cousins, bro.
Nah,
I agree, actually. And
I would have just traded for. I would have signed Joe Flacco on a gap year. Like, that's a bridge. They signed Justin Fields because they thought there might be something there, and they were wrong.
agree.
they
I
saw
thought they-
all the reclamation projects.
I mean, the guy went 4-2. And listen, I know the Steelers are a great organization, had a great defense, but like, the guy won a couple games last season. Like,
He didn't do shit.
none of us anticipated him going 0-7.
He didn't do shit.
That was just as fraudulent as what he's doing now, where
Yes.
he just has one interception. Or I think he might have 0 this year.
He hasn't thrown a pick, but
hasn't
he also
thrown
doesn't throw the ball.
Exactly.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, with the Steelers, it was like that. Like, he wasn't good with the Steelers. They were just winning in spite of him.
Yeah.
Just how they won with every quarterback in spite of him. So that's why I just feel like, you know, Aaron Glenn banked on the wrong quarterback, and you do that, and it's a death sentence in the NFL.
That's almost why I feel like he deserves a second year, even though he's been so awful. It just has all circled around the fact that he does not trust his quarterback in the slightest. In the slightest. Like, not even.
That's justified, though.
100% I agree, which is why I'm in the camp that I do believe he deserves another season. Like,
Yeah.
will it potentially fuck them? Yes, it could definitely fuck them pretty bad, but like, you got to give the guy a shot with a quarterback that he believes in.
Like the logic is like Fernando Mendoza, who's going to be the first overall pick at least today. He is the perfect fit for the Lions Ben Johnson-y type of offense, which is the current offensive system instilled within the Jets. Fernando Mendoza fits that to the T. He is like a modern day Goff. He's tall, he's big with a big arm. He's not going to be much of a playmaker, but he has a little bit of athleticism. That is a perfect fit. So like in theory, the Jets aren't missing much. Like I know people are saying, "Oh man, like it's not like other teams in the league where you feel like you don't want them to draft a quarterback because they're missing everything." The Jets have a great receiver. They have a good back. They have a good offensive line. They have a solid defensive line. They have an elite corner. Like there really isn't any like massive gaping hole on the Jets to where you pass up on a quarterback because the quarterback is the massive gaping hole.
Right.
So if they draft a quarterback and he's good and he fits the system, this could turn around quicker than people are expecting.
I completely agree with that.
It just
I
might
still
be
think
that
we
you're
need-
missing
And I'll be a
quarterback
Jets
and
fan again.
coach. We're not accepting you back. I'm sorry. That's it. We're kind of ship has sailed. I speak for all Jet fans right now.
They will be pissed on Twitter if there's a day where you tweet out, "I'm declaring myself a Jet
I
fan."
mean, I'm already planning my face turn.
Oh my God! Do you think they'll welcome you back?
It don't matter.
You need like pyrotechnics. You need like
You're gonna be
smoke
like-
machines.
You gotta do like
lights
like
and-
LeBron did with the Hennessy thing. You got-
There's enough people that don't recognize me to where I can go to a bar with Jets fans and they wouldn't know any of my history, and I would just like camouflage right in and be like, "Yo, let's take a group picture together," and you know,
We're back. We're back.
be like, "Yo, by the way, I made a decision the other day." That's it. That's what it'd be.
That'd be the first Packer to Jet fan turn ever. Ever,
Yeah.
I think. I don't think a Packer
Probably.
fan has ever become a Jet fan.
Yeah, but being a Packers fan was easy. You know, the Jets connection is there. Love and Favre going to the Jets.
Right.
You know, there's already some kind of like good symmetry with our franchises, so it's just
Yeah.
easy. They're green as well.
One wins, one loses. It's like yin and yang. It's just
Yeah, one has quarterbacks, one doesn't. Yeah, I mean,
they have
Historically.
one LaFleur. We had a LaFleur.
for real. You know,
At one
Mike
point.
LaFleur.
It all works itself out, I guess. But I love that you've referenced the wrestling terminology. Nice face turn. John Cena face turn, hopefully, just out of nowhere. But, you know, this was fun, Joel. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you a ton. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow us on all of our socials real quick. Let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me at Joel V. Moran across social media platforms. And then on the Pick a Side podcast, we do 2 to 3 podcasts a week. You can find us on TikTok as well. I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. It was a
Anytime, man.
blast.
Thanks for pulling up.
Great
man.
show, man. We appreciate you coming out, man.
It was a good time. And with that,
That was ball
Ball
game.
game.